I drove my rusty pickup to the local game store door. Starfield gleamed upon the shelf, couldn't wait no more. Todd Howard spun his stories of galaxies afar, but when I fired up that game, I didn't get too far. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. They boasted endless planets, each one unique and new. But after planet number 3, I'd seen a deja vu. The critics didn't love it, gave it mediocre scores. Just another space misfire echoed across the boards. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. I searched for epic battles, but the AI wouldn't fight. Characters were wooden and the dialogue was trite. Todd promised me the cosmos, but left me in the dust. Now I'm trading in this game, it's betrayed my trust. Oh, Todd, you weaved a fable of worlds beyond compare, but all I got were glitches and load screens everywhere. Still somehow I'm considering when the next game's nigh, 'cause hope's a stubborn thing, and I'll give it one more try. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I'll always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. Dear Herman, what have you done? Turned PlayStation's kingdom into a graveyard of fun. You bet all your chips on a long service spree, but the fans only asked for Bloodborne on PC. You whispered to Aloy, you'll lead us to gold, but all that we got was the same game result. Like your service dreams, oh, they burned in the night, like a Discord server in a fanboy fight. Spin, spin, Herman, dance through the fire. You sold us the dream, now you're stuck in the mire. The light service graveyards, abandoned and cold, like a PS portal nobody holds. Of gas stations climbing so high, but no one can see through the cash grab disguise. Fair games, oh fair, what a terrible name. Stealing from the rich, Sony's playing that game. You said live service is future, just give me some time. But now you're demoted, oh what a decline. Naughty Dog stranded, The Last of Us cursed. The only thing alive is your PR rehearsed. Spin, spin, Herman, your fate is unkind. Ryan price scraps. A decade you reigned, but the players withdrew. Aloy can't save you, she's also confused. The fans wanted Kratos, they wanted a thrill, but you chased dollar signs and swallowed the pill. Spin, spin, Herman, your tango is done. They stripped you of power, they fired the gun. The studios are tired, the players all fled. Your legacy lives, but only in red. Spin, spin, Herman, your tango is done. They stripped you of power, they fired the gun. The studios are tired, the players all fled. Your legacy lives, but only in red.
Time to play the game. Imagine a hero shooter where the hero never showed. Imagine a game with a player base that just refused to grow. A 5v5 hero shooter with gameplay that's just okay. And characters that remind me of Tupperware and white bread. No, I'm not talking about Overwatch. Please stop bringing up Overwatch. This game is not Overwatch. It's actually something else. Imagine a game with a story that no one watches. A game that costs $40 that Sony totally botches. It has all my favorite characters, like Lemmy, Dawn, and Craig. At least, I think that's what their names are. I never bothered to check. Concord like the grave, your legacy is safe. As a game that no one played, and a price that no one paid. Boop-a-doop-ba, deep-a-doop-da, scoop-a-boop-ba, beep-beep-beep-beep-beep, phlegm. Concord was about as good as accidentally peeing on your own leg. Concord, we're here to lay you to rest. We know you tried your best. You copied so much cool stuff just to turn out lame in the end. I'll never forget my favorite moments, like when Hot Sauce Guy jumped. Remember when he jumped? That was really cool. A rat just ran by on my desk, and even the rat didn't want to play Concord, even though I blessed him with the chance. The $40 he could afford, but the rat just stared on in a trance. Rat, 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 rat. Concord's dead. Rat, 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 rat. Concord's dead. The Costco guys made more money than you. They were just on Jimmy Fallon too. Imagine Lennox being on Jimmy Fallon, because I literally can't. The rat on my desk is eating all my Cheerios and grapes. And also Concord is dead. Concord like the grave, your legacy is safe. As a game that no one played, and a price that no one paid. Rat-a-ta-ta-beep-a-da, boop. Skim, milk, the rat fleet, doo-da, doo-da. A guy said he really liked it, and then a bunch of rats ate his face. That's the sound he made when Concord passed away. I wish things turned out different, but either way I'm getting paid. Concord's dead, Concord's dead, and boy is my face red. When the game came out, everybody overslept. Concord's dead, Concord's dead. Holy crap, Lois, Concord's dead. When the game out, people played everything else instead.
Welcome everybody. We're back, rocking and rolling. Glad to have you. with me today. It's going to be a good day. We've got a handful of things to talk about. We'll keep it lean, keep it clean, keep it fun, you know? That's what you do. Because there's been, you know, there's some stuff, like we have previews for Lies of P Overture that are out right now. We'll look at that. Crimson Desert, there's been a tech performance preview thing that's been up for a couple weeks, but I finally want to get to it. Google revealed some insane stuff that if it doesn't break your brain, you probably don't understand it, and I'll try to explain how insane it is. And PlayStation is ending a project that they ran for a while that almost certainly was supposed to be like for NFTs and stuff, but they walked that back. It's a whole thing. We'll talk about it. And of course, a major departure from Obsidian, a big, massive departure. So there you go. Yes, I was eating green beans. Somebody's like, why the hell are you eating green beans at 10:40 in the morning? But it's because, as you guys know, I eat Factors, and today we're having smoky Gouda chicken with roasted red potatoes and Parmesan green beans. It's actually quite good. So that's what I was having. Living the dream, you know. When I tell you guys I eat Factors a lot, I'm not kidding. It's a really good way to have a broad meal that's not just like a breakfast burrito, but like a whole bunch of things. And but it's nice. I'm not currently sponsored, so I'm paying like a pleb, you know. I'm paying like a normal person for my own Factors, but it's because it's good, frankly. I wish I was sponsored by them right now, because then I could get it for free. But right now I'm not. I just genuinely like Factor. So there you go. Yeah, this stream is sponsored by Factor. Dude, one of the most fun things is to like be talking with your friends
Caleb
and constantly
donated
plug
$10
it. It's funny.
through Super Chat.
Thank you, Caleb.
Hashtag ad this stream brought to you by Factor.
Hashtag ad, hashtag not a sponsor. Figure out that one. Yeah, there's been, it's always kind of confusing because people will see that like I've been sponsored by X company before, but I'm not currently sponsored. And they're like, but you're saying that you like it. I'm like, yeah, I don't tend to take sponsorships from things I don't like. Like if it tasted like crap, I wouldn't take it as a sponsor, you know? It's like kind of goes hand in hand. So naturally, like if I really like it, and I take the sponsorship, it's probably because I like it, you know? More beans, Mr. I don't know what that is. Taggart? I'm not sure what that's a reference to. Maybe I'm isolated. I don't know. I do like beans though. I do like green beans. And refried beans. Oh, Jacob and I actually went and had lunch at a nice Mexican restaurant yesterday afternoon. I can't talk today. It was very nice. But you better believe I ordered and ate a crap ton of refried beans. Man, they're good. Yeah, there's a reason. Yeah, Timothy. There's a reason they call me Luke the Beans Stevens. It's my catchphrase for a reason. Whenever something crazy happens in a video, I always go, "Oh, beans!" You know, it's a whole thing. It's just part of what we do. Oh yeah, Hellblade 2 is coming to PS5 as well. I guess this is more like a Luke Stevens clips thing, but I'll mention it. Little bitty thing. In case you missed it, yeah, this happened. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
Today, on the 1-year anniversary of the release of Senua's Saga,
It's crazy, it's been a year. Does not feel like a year, but it's been a year.
Escanor donated 50 Polish zlotys through Super Chat.
Thank you.
I hope you're all having a great day.
Indeed, you too.
Also, you might want to check Randy Pitchford's lovely tweet about 80 United States dollars game price.
I did see that. Dude, I swear to God. I don't know Randy. I've never met Randy. I'm sure he's probably a very nice guy, but he is like the prime example of somebody that just needs to put the phone down. It's like they asked him, like, it's not going to be $80, right? Or whatever. And he started the tweet by saying, "Not my call." He could have left it there. Could have been like, "Hey, that comes from like the CEO of Take-Two. Like, it's literally not my choice." He could have said that and just been like, not my call. But then he goes on and has like another couple of sentences saying like, you know, I was a real fan of this other franchise back in the day and I found a way to pay for it. Real fans would find a way. It was so bad. Like, it was just a bad idea. I was like, just put the phone down, dude. Just put the phone down. So many of these guys get themselves in trouble for no reason at all. It's like, just stop. But if you don't know anything about Randy Pitchford, he's put his foot in his mouth plenty of times. It's kind of like a running meme at this point. So I can't say I was surprised, but yeah. Wet Specimen, what a name. Thank you for the membership, by the way. Thank you. And also over on Twitch, my goodness, thank you. I'll shout this out just a second.
Ashen Warden donated $10 through Super Chat. Hey Luke, as a dad who wants to get into YouTube mainly gaming content, any advice whether it be how to figure out what videos to make or the best software to make said videos? Wanna try something new?
I mean, I've had people swear by like Sony Vegas Pro, I think, or what's the Black Magic one? DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is the one people swear by. If we were starting over, we'd probably do DaVinci Resolve. I've heard it's very, very good and way more stable than Premiere. So I'd recommend that in terms of software. In terms of types of videos, you literally just have to make stuff. Content creators create. So just start making stuff and figure out what you like. That's really the key, is just
Kirby
make stuff.
Shaw donated
Make a lot.
$19.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, Kirby. Jeez.
Hey Luke, huge fan of what you and your team do.
Thank you.
IDK how old you are, but I'm 33 and yearning for the same excitement I used to feel towards games. How do you see the gaming industry getting
Out of the dark hole it's in? First of all, thank you for the 20. That's ridiculously generous. Secondly, oh, and Jesus, guys, you over on Twitch, you guys are popping off. I'll answer this from Kirby, and then I'll shout out all that because, goddamn. But to answer the questions, one, I'm 27. I'll be 28 in June, so we're getting there. As for excitement, I mean, I think we all have burnout. It happens just naturally. You know, I don't think there's anything weird or wrong with you if you get burnt out on a certain hobby at a certain point. Even people who like play chess for a living get burnt out and need to take a break every once in a while. So that's fine. Typically there's going to be just one game that brings you back and like reignites your passion for it. And I've had that happen a few times with different games, like whether it's Baldur's Gate 3 that just reignites your love for it, or maybe like Red Dead 2 for a lot of people reignited their passion. God of War reignited their passion for it. So just, you know, I encourage you to try some different games, some more niche games. Try weird stuff, you know?
$9.99.
You might be surprised what you'll connect with.
I guess I'd rather spend my $80 at medieval times.
I mean, obviously, we can all agree the best way to spend $80 is at medieval times. That's far and away the best way to spend your money. 1000%. Go buy a sword. I don't even remember. I think this was like $200. Like, it wasn't that expensive for a sword. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I don't know how much a sword should cost, but it was cheaper than I thought it should. So yeah, go to medieval times, buy a sword. I don't know. Or a dagger. Daggers are probably cheap. But yeah, as for that, Kirby, I would just say try some different stuff to just see if anything piques your passion, your fancy. You might be genuinely surprised at some of the weirder games that connect with you. You're just like, I did not know that I would like this. Like one game I ended up spending, you guys have seen it. Almost certainly, because it went viral a little while ago, like towards the end of last year.
Mr. NP character
Tiny Glade.
$28.28 through Super Chat.
Jesus.
$28.28 for your 28th birthday.
Thank you. That's very generous. Early birthday present. I appreciate you and thank you. Yeah, I'm almost there. 28. Then I'm on my way to 30, then on the way to 40, and at that point I'm probably halfway done. So then it's just nothing but smooth sailing downhill. Get ready, kids. Death's a coming. But not to just cheer you up too much, but Tiny Glade, this is one that like when I feel burnt out and I've played like too much Death Stranding or something, this is a game that will just make you feel happy. Like, you just go in there and you make like a little village. Easy. You build little whimsical castles, cozy cottages, romantic ruins and stuff. Super customizable. Like, you just go in there, have fun. It's super like therapeutic. It's super cool. So just try weird stuff like this that you wouldn't normally try, and you might be genuinely surprised and shocked at how much time you can lose in it. It's good. So just don't lose that passion. Just try some different things.
Eric Branke donated $9.99 through Super Chat. What I found recently as a 29-year-old person who's sick of modern gaming right now is emulation on my Lenovo Legion Go. Been playing the Ratchet and Clank games a lot lately.
Yeah, emulation's a great way to play older games, especially that are not really accessible. I know some people are like, well, you could buy like a GameCube or an SNES and get these adapters and then find this cartridge and play it that way on like a CRT TV. But like for most people, that translates to inaccessible. I mean, it's just not practical, especially when emulation allows them to still play and appreciate those games. So yeah, emulation can be a phenomenal way to do that. You know, it could be a great way to do that. Thank you for the 10 and for the recommendation for people. Yeah, those handhelds, whether it's the Legion Go, the ROG Ally, I think you can do emulation on the Steam Deck. It just is a little bit more of a headache to set up, in my opinion, because you have to like build stuff into like basically a shell and then run it. But you can do it. But yeah, handhelds with emulation, that's a great way to do it. You want to play like those old games from way back in the day and you just play it on the go. It's great. Lay in bed. Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Real quick, over on Twitch, let me shout out these because you guys popped off and went crazy in order that they came in. Juan, thank you for the resub. Hey, Luke, big fan here from Uruguay. Did you watch the Destiny report on Bungie today? It was heartbreaking. I didn't. Did he just post it today? Former Bungie dev speaks out.
For the last...
Ooh. Oh, wait, is this on the one person? Oh, no, he has his own reporting. He has his own stuff. Okay, so this isn't just a quotation from that one person that was on social media saying stuff. He has his own reporting. Okay. Yeah, I wanna check that out. I don't want to step on Destin's video though. I don't want to step on his video. Maybe we react to it and then we only clip it in like 3 days or something, Jacob. Maybe we put it up over the weekend with like all the plugs and stuff. Maybe we do that. I don't know. That's good. Thank you for the recommendation though. That's good. I think it was IGN, but he was with a big outlet. He used to be, yeah, he was with IGN. Yeah, he used to work for IGN. He just left, I think, at the end of last year, early this year. He pops into chat every once in a while. He's an OG. You'll find videos. I think hold on, let me check. It was like the Evolve Crow Bee Cat video. And I think I saw him in that.
Creators of Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. Okay, so like you'll find like
have officially
little snippets of him in all these videos from way back in the day where you're just like, oh, it's how I see it. Yeah, because he's been around forever, you know. It's very, very funny. But yeah, I was just watching this video again randomly like yesterday, and I saw this pop up. I was like, oh, it's Destin. So yeah, he's been around forever. Okay, let me finish catching up on these. Dragon Killer, thank you for continuing your gifted sub. Thank you for that. Loxy also resubbed for 8 months. Oh, baby. That's fantastic. Brain Laser gifted 5 subs to the community. That's incredibly generous. Thank you, my friend. Welcome, everybody. If you just got a sub or a membership on YouTube, go and join the Discord. Connect your account to your Discord account, and you'll get an automatic invite to the Discord server. Do that. Okay. Hey, Luke, celebrating my birthday this afternoon, taking a lunch break and enjoying the stream. Shout out to the Chess Club. You're damn right.
Shout out to the Chess Club.
And happy birthday, Morgan. Happy birthday. That's fantastic. have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. It's a good time. I mean, I don't know where you are in the world, but the weather here at least has been gorgeous. So it's been a wonderful time to like be outside and hanging out with friends. It's a beautiful time of the year. Beautiful. Good time for a birthday. Good time for a birthday. Tell you what. Jimothy, this is Nintendo's mom. Please do not encourage emulation. That's stealing. My poor baby Nintendo needs your money. Please support indie devs. Yes, we can all agree. Support indie devs. I'm sorry, Nintendo's mom. I'm very sorry. Blake Rogers, also thank you for the 2. Luke, did you help defend Super Earth? Yeah, last night for a few hours, actually. I hopped on with my old college buddies, and we played on Super Earth. We did some Terminid. We did some, is it Terminids? Whatever the frickin' bugs are in Helldivers. We put in some time and rocked and rolled. It was a good time. It was way buggier than I thought it would be. Frankly, it was kind of surprising at how buggy it was. Like, I wonder if I can show you. It's gonna make me sign into my server again. Gameplay recordings. Is this it? Yeah, dude, I clipped into one of the spaceships when I started recording, and this happened constantly. Like there were multiple times where I got clipped into objects, and so the only way we could get out is my buddy Michael had to blow it up, which you'll see in a second. But yeah, I just got clipped into it. And it happened later. Let's see, it was back here, maybe. Maybe here. I got clipped into like part of the ground. It was super, super weird. No, not there. That's when we extracted. I was stuck down there for a bit. Literally the only thing that got me out was we had to deploy a hell bomb on top of me and then launch it. Yeah, we didn't do. Oh, here it is. See, I got clipped into like underneath part of the ground. I'm just like here running around. Watch what happens. What? I've never had this many problems with Helldivers, but after all the updates, it's like a very common thing for whatever reason. I don't know what is going on, but it's still very fun. It's just, it feels like there's a lot more instances of this kind of thing after the updates. And so you'll see the only way I could get out was I called in a hell bomb. Come on. Oh, I tried to like reinforce, see if that could pop me out, maybe throwing something. But then the hell bomb falls, and so we detonate it, and then that's what eventually kills me and lets me reset. But other than that, I would have been soft locked here, and there's just nothing you could do. Other than this, had a lot of fun. We had a really good time. We didn't do too well, but we had a lot of fun. But yeah, it was just funny that like I happened to discover all of these problems myself. I don't think anybody else in my party had the problems. I absorbed all of them. So there's that. But yes, I have been defending freedom. I have been defending freedom. You're damn right. You're damn right. How much storage does my PC have? I install all my games onto like an 8 terabyte NVMe SSD. It's like 2 4 terabytes that are striped together. And then all of my data and like recordings and stuff are stored on the server, which has like, I think 42 terabytes, I think. It has a redundancy thing, so I can lose one of the hard drives and it doesn't lose data, but I don't remember what the total is, like that's usable. Dami, thank you also for becoming a show-off member. That's fantastic. Welcome, welcome. Halfway through 30, and I find myself going back to retro games instead of new games these days. You are my only way to know what's new. Love it. Well, I'm glad to have you here, my friend. And I mean, those old games, sometimes they just scratch the itch. I've wanted to go back. I was just talking, like I said, I got lunch with Jacob yesterday, and we talked about how much we would love like a remaster or remake of Freedom Fighters. Because, man, Freedom Fighters back in the day, dude. Freedom Fighters. Dude, this game went so hard. So unnecessarily hard. Played it so much when I was, I don't even know how old, but young, very, very young. And yeah, I would love to see this come back, but that's the tricky thing is you're like, do I love it because of the nostalgia or because it actually is that good, you know? And at some point, I think it doesn't even matter. It's like, well, either way, you love it. So who cares if it's like objectively that good or whatever. If you had fun with it, if you're having a good time with it, who cares? But these games were short, dude. This is the entire full walkthrough of the game. And it's all of 4 hours long. Like, these games were pretty short. And this doesn't, like, they had, you know, co-op and multiplayer and stuff, but expectations are certainly way higher now than they used to be. Like, isn't that crazy? A lot of games are like that. Like the OG Red Faction. That's also like a good bit shorter than you would have thought. Like the OG Red Faction's 6 hours long. But I remember playing that a lot more than 6 hours. But you know, it's just nowadays we hear like we're debating with frickin' Mafia, like what's an acceptable length for Mafia at $50? And some people say 8 hours, some people say it has to be 12, even though it's $50. But we debate it. But back in the day, dude, the full AAA releases would like proudly launch at like 6, 7, 8 hours, 4 hours. But they were very good. Maybe it's just because we were younger and we didn't know any better, you know. I don't know. Yeah, Boo, I don't know what's happening. Twitch has been intermittently stuck at 720p. I don't know why. Like we're sending a full HD signal and everything, but Twitch like is downsampling it to 720p. I don't know what the deal is, especially because we're like, I'm a Twitch partner, so I don't know what their problem is, but yeah, it's been a Twitch only problem. If you'd like higher fidelity, YouTube seems to be working okay, but yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Okay. Really hoping Mafia the Old Country is a nice 30 hours. I wouldn't expect 30. I'm thinking if it can land in that like 12 to 15 hour range, I'd be happy. You know? I'd be happy. But time will tell. You aren't the chosen one? Apparently not, dude. Apparently not. Okay. Let me finish this. I think we read that one. I read that one. Gearden, thank you for the 2. What's your game of the year so far? KCD2 or Elden or Expedition 33? Probably Expedition 33. Just being honest. I mean, it's at the end of the year, maybe it changes because, you know, as all games do, sometimes you got to let it sit and settle as you think about it. But I still, just everything about Expedition 33 is so ridiculously impressive. Like, and I think Game of the Year also is not just about, it's not always just about what is like your favorite game or the best video game of that year. It's also more generally about recognizing an outstanding achievement. And, you know, KCD2 is phenomenal, but in many ways, it's just a perfection of the KCD formula that we knew like was good and had potential. They just needed to do more of it and polish it. Everything about Expedition 33 is just shocking and surprising and innovative. And it's such a small team that did it and overcame those challenges. Like every aspect of it is insane. So it might change later in the year, you know, never say never. But as of right now, if I had to choose right now, I'd probably say Expedition. Okay. I own all the Mafias, but I haven't played them all. My urge to collect is going to force me to buy the Old Country. Yeah, you're in too deep now, dude. You're in too deep. Speaking of being in too deep. Speaking of. I feel like we should touch on this real quick. New mini segment. Okay. Google just revealed one of the most wildly impressive things I've ever seen. And if you don't find this impressive, I think maybe you don't understand just how devastating this is for everybody. Okay. They revealed something called Veo. I don't know how they want to pronounce it, but what this is it's a state of the art new creative AI model that is able to produce 4K video that also adds audio and allows for extreme like fine tuning of things. Okay, like you can adjust the frames and everything. Like this is fully AI generated. This is not real.
Breaking light. This ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might. And she commands your awe with every breaking light. This ocean, it's a force.
I can feel from here the executives getting you know, they're at half mast right now because they are like, we can save so much
Kirby
money
Shaw
with this.
donated $19.99 through Super Chat. Considering all the remasters, remakes releasing, I think there's been so many missed opportunities to bring back old IPs. NFS Most Wanted remake would kill. Jack and Daxter would kill.
Would kill. Maybe I'm just an old man now. No, I mean, I think as we've seen with Oblivion, nostalgia sells, dude. Like if they are willing and able to bring out an older franchise or older IP or older game that was beloved back then and just introduce it to a new audience, it can work. It can work. So I think they definitely have a lot left in the tank that they could work on. 1000%.
Caleb donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Calling it now. Luke is gonna rebrand his channel where it's some big busty gamer girl reading off everything Luke says.
Yeah, big, an AI gamer girl that is just my, what do they call it? VTuber. It's like my VTuber model is just that. Except I'll be super insufferable with it. I'll be like, oh, this is the evolution of my content. You're like, no, this sucks. I'm like, no, it's part of my vision. Wait, what did the Quebblecop video say? Glowing with style. It'll be glowing with style. It's just terrible. Yeah, viscous content. So like here, you can see they basically write out what would be in a script and they just give it to the AI model and then like, yeah, just make it.
What manner of magic is that?
It's still, in my opinion, it's still very clearly AI generated. There's little bitty things that are tells, whether it's like the subtle movements in the cheeks or little bitty things like how the paper moves and shuffles. But let's be honest, for like your boomer grandma, she's not gonna be able to tell the difference. She's not gonna be able to tell a damn thing. All this is gonna be like photorealistic. She's like, did you see the new Indiana Jones movie where he interrogates a duck? I didn't like it that much. Like it's gonna be so toxic, but these things are gonna be everywhere, dude. Bear in mind, this is 2 years after, only 2 years after the Will Smith spaghetti thing. Like you remember the Will Smith, where's the Will Smith spaghetti? I want to see Will Smith eating spaghetti. Yeah, it was these videos that were horrifying, nightmare fuel. That's 2 years ago, and already we're at this level. Give it another 2 years, they're just gonna be making entire movies and stuff with this. And they're gonna be like, yeah, see, we don't need to pay for animators. We don't need to pay for any of this because we can just do this. Now, in my opinion, this will never replace like actual human artists. It can be used, I think, for like documentaries, for example. Like if you wanted to make a historical documentary and you just want to say, oh, two Victorian Women stand at a cliff as the waves crash. This shot would have cost you thousands upon thousands of dollars to film in real life. They do this in literally 4 minutes, you know, with this AI tool, save all that money and time. I think you'll see it used there a lot. Documentaries and stuff are cooked. But when it comes to actual content, the thing with AI models is that AI models are trained on data, which makes them inherently derivative. Like, AI models require you to feed them stuff that they can look at, recognize patterns, and then replicate. They don't make stuff. They make recreations of what they think you want to see. You know? So you're never going to have something truly creative generated through an AI model. Like, it'll be at best derivative, but nothing more than that. Stuff like this is very impressive. Like, you know, the feather flowing and getting caught in the spider web. That's a very impressive thing. I don't even know how you would film that in real life if you wanted to. I have no idea how you would coordinate it. It probably would have to be CGI. So, but like with this, you can just do it. Weird sci-fi worlds, you can do it that way. I think it'll be used for inspiration when it comes to stuff like, you know, vision boards, concept art, stuff like that. Yeah, Bungie will use it. But like, if they splice this clip, let's just be totally honest. This one, I know this is AI.
Zero donated $10 through Super Chat.
I don't see any
Blue,
giveaways.
I've always thought you have great narrative critiques. If you had the means to storyboard, write, and create your own video game, what would it be? Pretend you have AAA budgeting.
I do have some ideas, and I've gone and made some basic design docs and stuff for what I'd like to do. So I have some ideas. You know, the couple of ideas I have that I'm really confident in and happy with, I probably wouldn't share publicly, because my hope is to one day actually make it. So I wouldn't want to, you know, reveal it. The one thing I have said is that one of the things I think that could work so well is to do a Naughty Dog style linear narrative or even open narrative game set in the golden age of piracy. Keep it dark, keep it super gritty. You don't need to do like the cartoony Disney pirate thing. You can go like more realistic with it. You could even explore whether it's Blackbeard, or you could explore the story of Anne Bonny. You could do all sorts of crazy things that would be really, really cool. So I would love to do that. If I had AAA, like AAA budgets, that's what I would do. I'd go and put a lot of money into a pirate narrative game, because it's such an interesting time period. It makes this exploration, the inherent feeling of exploration and adventure from the pirate side of things, just sailing around and being free like that. But then also the inherent conflict of needing to, you know, whether you're privateering or whether they were actually like pirating. It's just, there's so many interesting dynamics that are at play with it just by nature of its setting, that I think it's just such a perfect setup for a video game. It's super underutilized too right now. So 1000% pirate game. That's all we need. Thank you, Europe, also for the 5. Have you tried Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon? Yes. I don't think I'm allowed to say much more than yes, but yes. I'd have to check. But yeah, and what I was saying with this is I know this is AI generated. Other than the frog that kind of shows up out of nowhere right here and then jumps in, I don't think I would notice that this is AI generated. And that's exactly the point. Like, where you're going to see this stuff spliced in is in like the true crime documentaries where, oh yeah, and then Billy goes and they make a paper hat or a paper boat, and they sail it down the water, and then Pennywise grabs them, and they just splice this shot in so they don't have to film it in real life. That's where this actually like becomes super valuable to them. And they want to do, you know, photo merging stuff. So you have concept art for something and then another piece, and you can kind of merge them together so the AI can generate it. You know, input image, output video. So you can take one piece of inspiration and then get a bunch of different clips from it. It's just the start again. Like, and every time they show off more of this, it's just getting better and better. And it's going to eventually get to the point where we probably can't really tell, because already some of this, if you don't know what you're looking for, specifically with like the hair and the way the waves move, like you're probably not going to be able to tell. So this is insane. As Fake History Hunter says, yeah, we're doomed. This is completely AI generated. All it took was a prompt, sound, visuals, all fake. And when I say we, I mean people who make films, TV, art, etc. Historians will still be needed for now. Yeah. There's a lot, dude. There's so much with it. This one, a person walks inside of an incredibly futuristic city. The person comments out loud on what he sees and what surprises him the most. Let's see what they did.
This city, it's incredible. I didn't think I'd see anything this amazing.
It's got the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson acting talent too. Wow. I saw a really funny post where somebody's like, dude, Dwayne is a genius. I'm sick of people saying Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not a genius. He saw into the future so far that he named his wrestling character The Rock, which clearly was like him seeing into the future at his own acting ability. And so, so he named himself that because he wanted people to be able to recognize Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Who's that guy? Oh, it's that guy that acts like a rock. Brilliant. He's a genius. I'm sick of people pretending he's not. But dude, the AI tools are only getting better and better, and they're just going to become more and more prevalent. And so buckle up. We're doomed. Everything sucks. It's very impressive tools. It's super, super cool as like a piece of technology. But I think the broader implications for what this actually means is really where things are going to get screwy. Like it's splicing in a 10-second clip into a documentary is not a big deal. Sure. It's the broader implications where now like a lot of studios are going to be trying to replace artists fully with these tools. Now, on the flip side, it probably means that we do get like some, it's almost like, you know, with food where it's like the all organic foods. There's going to be all organic movies and TV shows where it's like a selling point is that they don't use any AI content. That's probably going to be something people are willing to spend more time and more like money on, and it'll be a premium. But just like with food, where there's other foods that are not organic, whatever, there's going to be a lot of AI content that's generated that's just built from the most basal form, built up with these tools. And so, yeah, it's going to be a thing. Can't wait for a movie to be advertised as 100% AI. I think they're smart enough to know that that's not a selling point for people, but I think they'll start to slip it in. Like, wasn't there like a TV show where they put in a bunch of AI NPCs in the background? I don't remember what it was. AI NPCs in TV show. It was something like that, or like background characters. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? I don't see it. It was some Disney movie. I think it was like a Disney TV show. Disney. I don't remember what it was. We won't stick on it too long. Yeah, I don't see anything. Jesus, some of these AI things are so depressing though. What? 2 nasty facts you missed in Moana 2. 1.6 million views. This is why no one takes shorts seriously, okay? Because this type of content has 1.6 million views. Damn. It's just so depressing. Anyway, what did I just come back to? I'm sorry. We made the mistake of looking up YouTube shorts. Okay. Spin, Harmon. Crusader Nella, thank you for the 200 bits. A bit of a personal tangent, but I'm a bit pissed off at how From Software seems to not only be focusing on the Elden Ring franchise when Armored Core 6 was so fantastic. I refuse to believe it. It also didn't make bank, but I guess that mech game market is incredibly niche. I think it's more niche, and it's also, even if it is successful, which I think it was. I mean, I think it made money, certainly. But Elden Ring was such a monstrosity. Like, it was so huge that I don't think there's, I think it's just, it makes more sense to focus on that because it's just so much more successful. It's, you know, you can, if you have to pick where you're going to focus your efforts, you're like, we can focus on this one that sold 1 million copies, or we can focus on this one that sold 30 million. You're going to focus on the 30 million, you know, I can't blame them. So I think it's more like, in some ways, Armored Core is a victim of its own success, or their own success, more than anything. Greetings, fellow gamers. Sup, Whippy Ice. Are you going to watch Mission Impossible? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, going back to this, I guess I can redo this intro. News, This just happened, fam. This just happened. Breaking news.
Today, on the 1-year anniversary of the release of Senua's Saga,
it's been a year,
Hellblade 2, we're excited to share some news with you on the game.
Also, I'm sorry. I'm from Colorado, and like everybody here wears Carhartt. It feels weird to see a British person wearing Carhartt, and I don't know why. It shouldn't be weird. It's just a solid clothing brand, but it feels weird to see a Brit wearing Carhartt, because in my brain, I think of like Texas rancher, I think of like oil field worker. I don't think of video game developer as wearing Carhartt. I guess that's just me. My brain is broken.
Hellblade 2, we're excited to share some news with you on the game. We're so happy to tell you, our fans, that Hellblade 2 will be coming to PlayStation 5 this summer.
Surprised face. This game always made more sense on PlayStation. Let's just be real. Like, I found it remarkably depressing, frankly. It was very, very short. It was, in my opinion, pretty phoned in. And it was just frustrating because even when there were like really cool things with like the giant mother, again, no spoilers, but there were some really cool things that were done in the game. And then there's just nothing explored. They show something cool for all of 30 seconds and then it's over. Like, and when I finished the game, I seriously thought I had accidentally finished it. I thought I had gotten like one of those Far Cry sort of Far Cry 4 endings where you sit at the table for 15 minutes, he comes back and the credits rolled. I thought I had done something like that because the game ended so abruptly and so just, I don't know, in such a lackluster way. It just was like, what just happened? The game's over? What? I reloaded, played back through it, and then nope, sure enough, that's just the ending. It was really, really frustrating, especially because the first Senua game had one of the most memorable endings of any video game I've probably ever played. I thought it was fantastic. I love the first game, and seeing just how rushed the second one was and how unfinished it was. I think it was finished, it was polished, but it was so short that it was frustrating, extremely frustrating and very disappointing. You mean it stopped, it didn't end? Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. Like the whole game, it just felt like it was built to be a tech demo to showcase in that first Xbox showcase, to be like a graphical powerhouse, but that's it. And I think it'll find some success on PlayStation because the original game did well there. Certainly, you know, I don't think that's a surprise, but people forget that, let's see, the studio that made this is called Ninja Theory, and it was headed up by this guy, Tamim Antoniadis. I'm not sure. He was one of the head honchos. He's one of the people that worked on all these early games and did very well there. They built it up, and then they kind of peaked with Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, right? They did Nicodemus, they did Hellblade on VR, they did Star Wars VR, Vader Immortal, they did that, some like contract work, and then they did Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge. If you don't remember this, you're normal. Okay, most people don't remember this because it's quite forgettable. Unfortunately, for them, certainly. It launched in 2020, and it was basically a online brawler where every fighter becomes mechanically enhanced for mayhem, whatever that means. And it was going to be their hero shooter kind of thing. It just didn't go anywhere. It died. It died hard, and it's got mixed reviews, which is interesting because, like, I thought this was dead. I'm surprised they're still selling it because I'm pretty sure Steam DB, I'm pretty sure it has like no players. Yeah, literally no players. I'm shocked they're still selling it. 24-hour peak was 1. It peaked all time at 1400. Okay, like this is depressing. Oh, this was a good day. Saturday, April 20th of last year, there were 14 players on. But people forget about this, and it's important to remember just what happened with it, because this game, as you can see, on January 28th of 2021, they ended development on it. They walked away. And it was at this point that they started really fully working on Hellblade. So they only worked on it for like a couple years or a few years before putting it out, and with like 70 people. And as a result, like it just was not, there wasn't much there. There really wasn't. Also, this guy who founded the studio, this guy, Tamim, you can actually find him. He left the studio. He's off doing other stuff. Apparently right now, just like living life. But you can find him on Instagram, and funnily enough, like, dude, like when he sold his company, I think he got just like a massive paycheck, just millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. And so now he just goes around and parties. Like, bro is living the dream. Just has all these pictures of him hanging out with like weirdly dressed women. No judgment. Like, that's what he's doing. I think he walked away with tens of millions of dollars when they sold this company. So he's doing just fine. He got out, but as a result, I think like some of the original talent and soul of Ninja Theory left, and now the studio is just kind of just odd. It's just odd. So it's coming to PC, or it's coming to PlayStation, and I think it'll do well enough there, but I think even PlayStation fans will be like, really? This is this short? It's like, really? But okay, whatever. So there you go. Hellblade 2 is coming to PS5 this summer. Yes. Let's see. How do I feel about the GTA 4 port rumors? I mean, if it's true and it's a good port, I'll be happy. If it's like that GTA collection, I will not be happy and I will be sad. But it just depends on what they're doing. Funnily enough, the guy that was the director on LA Noire, he had a studio in Sydney. And they did a bunch of support work, and they helped fix up those GTA ports. And they were just acquired and became Rockstar Sydney back, I think, earlier this year. And he almost certainly is working on that. So if they're doing a port of GTA 4, it's probably the studio in Sydney that was headed up by the guy that did LA Noire, which is just kind of a funny small world kind of thing, you know? Let's see. Red Fajita, thank you for the 23 months. I grew up on a farm. You all look weird to me wearing Carhartt. I mean, I guess it's good branding. Carhartt's like, their whole brand is that it's built really tough, right? It's just built tough. It's built rugged. So when I see that, like, somebody who works in an office building is wearing Carhartt, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, okay. Like, there's nothing wrong on paper with that. That should be fine. But yeah, just it hits my ear and eyes weird. I'm like, oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, I recommend LA Noire. It's very good. It's weird and it's definitely aged, but yeah, I recommend everybody play it. Certainly. Certainly. Wilfredo, thank you for the 5. The Hellblade 2 marketing cycle sold the Series X more than the console marketing. Did Xbox intentionally lead us on with this game to sell consoles? I mean, I think that's literally what every company does when they're selling a console. They'll show you the game that they think makes it look the best, and that was Hellblade. It just turns out they showed everything that was cool about Hellblade in those trailers. Except for like the one thing with the giant. Other than that, like there's not much else in the game. You know, they spent a lot of time and resources building that cool vertical slice with the giant coming in from the ocean and throwing the spears and the fire and everything. They built that and it looked phenomenal. But then they like, oh right, we have to make a video game. And I don't think they had much to offer after that. Owen, thank you for the 2. What are your thoughts on Texas Chainsaw being cut? On Texas Chainsaw being cut, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Texas Chainsaw cut? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll need more context. I'm not sure what you're... It's a joke. It's a joke. I guess you had to be there. Sorry, Owen. Sorry. You got me to Google Texas Chainsaw cut. God damn it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know what? Maybe we should go back. Jacob, did we do... I don't know if you're in here, Jacob, actually. Did we do it like an Evolve? I think we did at some point. Yeah, June of last year. Oh, we did. And it did like 93,000 views. Okay, so we probably should revisit. I love going back and watching some of these videos that like recap some of these disasters from gaming history. And Evolve was one of them. But we did watch this last summer as well, and we did a whole segment on it. What's funny, you know this guy? Do you recognize this guy? Hold on. Oh crap, what would it be called? I don't remember what it was called. I don't remember the outlet. We've done a segment on it. It's from that segment, or from that panel thing where the guy started like where the guy starts like getting really emotional about No Man's Sky. And that dude is the one who wasn't getting emotional and was like, what is the game though? Like, what's the video game? And the other guy's like, you know, Sean Murray, him on stage was the first time I had actually felt something. You remember? Remember that? Game trailers? That had to be like 2015, I think. I don't remember. No, I don't see it. Oh, wait, no, I found it. This dude. So this guy, game trailers, this guy. Wait for it.
I love playing that game.
I know, it's so much fun.
Evolve is super fun.
After
is the same guy as here. And he was the only one that was like being real and genuine, that like, hey, there's not really a game in No Man's Sky right now. And then this dude was getting like super emotional about it.
I'm okay with that, but does your gun get better?
Yes.
You're not okay with that.
It does.
Just say it's not a game for you.
So you're gonna go into a game with
Your gun
no
gets
idea how to
better.
customize, no idea how
Your
to
gun
improve
gets
yourself,
better.
no
So
idea how to
he
make it
actually
better.
said your gun gets better. No.
My favorite moment was when he says Sean Murray wouldn't like you. As if that's a counter. They're talking about No Man's Sky. Hey, I don't think that the gameplay loop looks that engaging. Sean Murray wouldn't like you. It's like, what do you mean? Can you imagine being like, hey, with Starfield, it feels weird that like you can't just fly your ship in the atmosphere and you can only land in little fishbowls. Todd Howard would hate you. It's like, oh, never mind. Like, what do you expect me to say to that? Like, okay, cool. Do you want a high five? Like, what do you mean? It's so dumb. Oh, that's what happens when we get really emotional. Oh my God. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. Yeah, we don't have to watch it again. We're fine. I want to watch this because there's previews for Lies of P. New segment. In case you missed it, Lies of P is getting a DLC expansion thing, and they are doing previews, or at least they just did a preview, and there are now videos going up talking about it. This expansion is called Overture, Lies of P Overture, and the IGN preview is titled Overture Wears Its Bloodborne Inspiration Proudly on Its Sleeve. Let's see what they thought of this. This is coming this summer, by the way. If you did not play the original Lies of P, you should, and you have time to play through it before this expansion. But let's see what they thought of it.
In 2021, Round 8 in NeoWiz announced Lies of P, a moody Souls-like that answered the question that no one had thought to ask. What if Bloodborne was actually a Victorian reimagining of Carlo Collodi's Pinocchio? When it launched in 2023, it surprised skeptics and over-delivered in both how great its dark fantasy setting was and how incredibly fun its aggressive combat was. Two years later, I got to spend some quality time with Overture, the ironically named encore of an expansion to the hit action game. And even though I didn't get to see much more than around an hour of the first stage and the new boss memories mode, it was apparent very quickly that the South Korean team is poised to overachieve yet again.
So they got to do an hour of gameplay and see a boss memory mode. That sounds to me like boss rush mode. That's what that sounds like to me. And I don't know why. Maybe tell me in chat if you play like Elden Ring and these other Soulsborne games. Boss rush modes just seem to make so much sense for a game like this. And yet it's something that From Software has been like, I don't even know, passionately opposed to. Like, I don't know why they don't. They have things like Chalice Dungeons and Bloodborne, which give you a taste of it. In Elden Ring, of course, there's just such a volume of bosses that it seems like, you know, you'll always have something. But a boss rush mode always just seemed to make so much sense for a game like this, and yet they don't do it. But maybe they're actually adding this. Maybe they're doing that here. I know there's mods that do it, so you can technically do it. It's called Night Rain. You know how I feel about Night Rain. Damn it.
Overture is a prequel to the events of Lies of P, right before the puppet frenzy starts and robotic thralls massacre everyone in the city of Krat.
Ooh.
But as it turns out, many of the ideas for settings, weapons, etc. were actually meant for the base game, but got cut out to keep the original release from being too bloated. Round 8 game studio director Ji-won Choi told IGN in an interview that he and his team weren't content with letting these ideas go undeveloped and unrealized. Through a translator, he described Lies of P as finally complete with the addition of Overture.
It's also surprised me that they've taken like 2 years on it. That's a long time for an expansion for a game like this, and I'm happy to see it. Don't get me wrong. I like Liza B. But it's also, it seems like if you're going to take 2 years, why not take 3 or 4 and just do a sequel? But maybe that's what this is. Maybe that's basically what this is.
Liza P has always been associated with Bloodborne, mostly because of how it looks, but also because combat in both games adheres to Souls-like traditions, but forego key behaviors like blocking. Even releasing a big DLC well after launch to put a bow on the original project has become a From Software signature at this point. The Choice team embraces the comparison. Quote, "It's an honor to be compared to From Software," end quote. He added that it motivates the team to make something that can clear the high bar of expectation, and they can only hope that they did that with Liza P and will continue to do so in Overture. The first steps you take back in the boots of the titular character P is into the snow-packed region around the Krat Zoo. A building your disembodied guide Gemini seems very confused to see standing and not a pile of embers.
Yes, it is. That's Krat Zoo. How in the blazes? And I mean that literally. The zoo burned down a long time ago.
Story details are light, and the developers are staying tight-lipped about anything we haven't seen so far.
Shout out Woolly Mammoths. Dude, that's hardcore. That's hardcore. You want to know a really niche thing that you're not going to do anything with and you don't probably care about? So in other words, normal things on this channel. There is, you guys know I play chess. I like chess. Played it very competitively way back in the day. There's a company called House of Staunton, the House of Staunton, and they sell luxury chess sets. Now, what do you think is like the most luxurious type of chess set you could get? Some people might guess like gold or silver chess pieces, right? Maybe you do that. And yeah, Jacob, you're keeping this in the stream clip because why not? Marble would be good, but ivory. Yeah, Remy says it, Melissa says it. Ivory. Problem is, ivory is a big no-no in the world, you know, because it incentivizes like poaching, where you get people going into like these preserves and killing elephants and stuff just to poach their ivory. So what is the one type of ivory that you can sell pretty much globally without any issue? The ivory of long since extinct animals, since you're not doing much harm to them. So House of Staunton actually sells a chess set made of woolly mammoth ivory, and the pieces are carved from woolly mammoth tusks, because apparently these just kind of stick out of the ground in Siberia, and like the locals will pull them out of like basically the sockets and the skulls of these frozen mammoths that are becoming like defrosted, and they'll take the tusks and they'll run off and sell them to collectors and stuff, and then a company like House of Staunton can collect them and carve them into chess sets. Who knew, right? This must be expensive. Yeah. it's a $13,000 chess set. Yeah, it's an expensive chess set, but it's a woolly mammoth ivory chess set. So there you go. But that is a very niche piece of trivia you can throw out for some reason if you ever care. But yeah, now whenever you see a woolly mammoth, you'll think about a woolly mammoth ivory chess set. Do I have it? No. No. I love spending money frivolously, but I could never bring myself to do something like that, dude. That's insane.
After some preamble from your lantern cricket, it was very difficult not to spend a couple of seconds swinging around one of the brand new weapons in Overture. A gunblade that looks exactly like the kind Squall Leonhardt would have commissioned for himself. This is one of the few new weapon types I chopped my way through this frozen menagerie with, on top of new weapons from existing types, and a pair of new, very cool Legion arms that did very different yet very effective kinds of ass-kicking. The Pale Knight, as the gunblade's called, was my main weapon against the ergo-poisoned monsters both on the outskirts of the zoo and within its walls. It has the weight and attack pattern similar to a greatsword, but its heavy attack pulls the trigger, and the double-barreled firearm attached sends lead screaming at foes. The recoil of these shots push P around, so it can be useful when mixed in with light attack strings to remain evasive. A trick I learned far too late in my demo was that you could actually fire the weapon again to rocket yourself back towards the bad guys for a big follow-up attack.
Well, that's cool.
So basically, it's the coolest weapon ever made. Another new weapon type I dabbled with is the bow, the first completely ranged weapon in the series. It felt perfect for poking smaller enemies from afar, but felt pretty incapable of making a reasonable mark on larger foes. I think with time, there's probably a way to exploit it.
Zombie kangaroos, like normal kangaroos, are freaky as hell, but zombie ones, get out of here.
Perfect draw mechanic to menace all sorts of baddies from downrange, but I couldn't manage it in the hour I had. Another new weapon type I wish I spent more time with were a pair of long claws that shredded enemies with the kind of fury that is usually reserved for the best there is at what he does. This didn't scratch the surface of weapons I glossed over that were clearly new additions to existing weapon types, but it was abundantly clear to me that people who really love the weapon customization aspect of the base game will have a lot of new toys to match together in Overture. The new Legion arms I tried out also made great additions to P's kit. My favorite was yet another gun, double-barreled and chargeable to moderate the kind of force spread and impact on the bad guys. It's more a close-range option, but even at half charge it made short work of all the fodder that roamed around the snowy grounds or dilapidated halls of the zoo itself. At full charge, it was a reliable tool to stun bigger foes or at least interrupt their bevy of attacks for a second. I came to the second arm late in the demo, but it was certainly a strong offensive option in its own right. It launched blades that would swirl around enemies for a short time, similar to the throwable saw blade item, but with two differences. One, it can fire multiple blades at once to do some significant damage over time to one target, and two, with a quick press of a button before releasing the flying blade, you can change the attack completely to a set of blades that dance around P instead, great for doing solid AoE damage. Speaking of targets, the cast of enemies in this section was pretty unremarkable outside in the beginning of the level, but got very interesting as we got deeper in the zone. Some bitey wolves and grabby zombies were run-of-the-mill, but standouts like some very angry kangaroos and an ergo-plagued elephant with a Resident Evil-style surprise really wowed me. I spent so much time against the latter that I only just made it to the end of the level to see the boss, an enormous crocodile twisted by ergo.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
On that,
and what a good idea to set this in a zoo so you can have like corrupted massive animals and stuff in it. It's like you could have gone anywhere else to just have like, oh, regular animatronics and stuff and the puppets and everything, but this is before they turn. But going to like a corrupted zoo, easy peasy.
On that note, bosses will get a new focus in the patch for the base game that will accompany Overture with two new game modes, Battle Memories and Death March. Death March is a straight-up boss rush, allowing you to make a playlist of at least 3 bosses and attempt to take them all down in one go. Battle Memories, meanwhile, allows you to return to old boss fights and attempt to beat them again, now in up to 5 different tiers of difficulty, each tier increasing some unique stats that these bosses gain in this mode. Rewards for conquering these tiers has been hinted at, but not elaborated on.
That's cool.
I went back to one of the old bosses, the Black Rabbit Brotherhood, to see how different it was on tier 3 than my memory of them in the base game. The way they beat me and my rusty fingers to death didn't point out any real differences, but as with the rest of Lies of P, I'm sure teasing out the mystery comes with lots of experimentation.
I do remember that boss fight. That boss fight sucks ass. I don't care what anyone says. I don't like swarm boss fights. I like it when there's one big boss and we're just fighting it out. That's what I like. Having like 15 different enemies coming at me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Still haven't beat it, says Jacob. I don't know. It's when it gets to the point where it's annoying, that's so easily corrupting to fun that I just don't like it. I'm like, I don't like swarm fights.
This puppet's crazy!
Lies of P was one of the standout games of 2023, and among the best games in its action RPG subgenre not made by From Software. Overture doesn't play with the formula too much, but I found that the new ingredients it added, like the great new weapon types and fabulously freaky monsters, prove that there's never really too much of a good thing, even if it's largely the same thing. For more on the latest upcoming games, don't miss our recent previews of Shadow Labyrinth or Mugenics.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. It looks really good. And I mean, even little quality of life things, like they're adding a difficulty slider, for example, which I'm interested to see how that goes. They basically want to make it so if that's the main reason you haven't been playing, you can get into it. Maybe if they can tone it down a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. But the boss rush mode also, I think, is just a great addition. So I'm glad to see that. Looks really good. We'll keep an eye on it. Also, apologies if you can hear Doggy barking upstairs. He occasionally gets caught into a moment where he's like, I need to make noise, and so he barks very, very loudly. But that's what it is. So you'll have to see if you can hear him or not. How's Doggy doing? Doggy's doing good. He's acclimating well. Potty training is a thing that we're trying. But yeah, he's doing good. His whole thing is he loves to play, he loves to wrestle and stuff like that. I think he thinks of Ori as like another puppy in the litter, so he tries to like kind of roughhouse with Ori and like play with him and nuzzle him and stuff, and
Brian
Ori doesn't know what to do with it.
$10 through Super Chat.
It's very cute.
Do you have advice for increasing my riz for the ladies?
I've heard, I've been out of the game for a little while. I've heard they love fedoras. And like, if you have like leather gloves and you cut off the tips, they love that. I've heard, wearing vests with t-shirts also. You're a bad person. How dare you? Yeah, more than anything, I don't be confident. I don't know. Be yourself, have fun, be confident. Bring the fedora out on the second date. They love magic. Learn magic. Yeah, they love magic tricks. That's one thing women don't often tell you, is that they love magic tricks. So that's the key. That's the key to a woman's heart. Magic. Okay. Say you pre-ordered Borderlands 4, like that they will know you are not oh yeah. Tell them you pre-ordered Borderlands 4 and then they'll know you're not a brokey. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Took me a second to decipher what you were saying, but yeah, absolutely. 1000%. Dude, this is cursed. Look at this. One of the PlayStation Stars thing is just Jim Ryan as a bobblehead. That's horrifying. That's horrifying. Yeah, if you missed it, basically, I guess, new mini segment. PlayStation Stars was a thing that PlayStation was doing for a bit. The general consensus is that people thought, and I agree with it, I think PlayStation Stars at some point was going to be an NFT project, and then they walked it back. And these were supposed to be like little bitty collectibles, like little bitty statues and things in the console. I mean, come on. This looks like NFTs. The idea is you play the games, you earn some coins, you can get them and like redeem some of these products and statues with those coins. And then you could also, in theory, buy full games with those coins and points or whatever. And so they eventually twisted it into a reward system. So if you're more active on PlayStation, you get rewarded for that. But it just, like, it never really flowed and clicked well. And they were trying to sell things like this, a nod to Jim Ryan, collectible. I like how it's only uncommon. It's not even like a rare. And so I think that their goal was to sell these as NFTs. And then NFTs imploded and that didn't work anymore. So they walked it back, made it just a fan loyalty program. But it just didn't, like, nobody really knew about it. And the people that didn't know about it were really, really on top of using it. And they were using it so much that it was just losing PlayStation money and they were getting basically nothing for it. And so they're like, why are we doing this if we're just losing money? Let's just shut it down. So that's what they're doing. They announced this. They are going to evolve to future loyalty program efforts. And basically they're just shutting it down until July 23rd. It'll function, but July 23rd at 7:59 a.m. Pacific time, there will be no new PlayStation Star campaigns available, nothing more to earn, and then they will fully end it on November 2nd, 2026. And current PlayStation Stars members can continue to redeem points as long as their points don't expire before then. So at that point, they will expire, and they'll stop it. I had completely forgotten PlayStation Stars was a thing, and I think most people did as well. So to a certain extent, I guess, you know, no harm, no foul. It's just more of the same. It's just whatever. But, you know, it's nonetheless, they're shutting it down. They're shutting it down, moving on. So make of that what you will. So no more Jim Ryan bobbleheads? No. If they had a real one, like a real life one for like $10, $20 or whatever, I'd buy one. I'd put it in the studio because that would be funny. But an NFT version? No, I'm good. I don't need it. Like, digital collectibles have never made sense to me, where it's like, oh yeah, you got a digital bobblehead. So what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to be like sitting quietly in a room. I'm bored. Let me go look at that video, the little digital bobblehead. Okay, I feel better. Like, what do they think you're gonna do? It's very stupid to me. I've never understood it. I know some people are just like, they like collecting stuff, but yeah, it's never clicked for me. I don't get it. I don't get it. Speaking of not getting it, I guess we could touch on this real quick. Thoughts on Borderlands 4? Will you play? I think so. I used to play Borderlands back in college a good amount. It was one of our like bonding games. We'd all come together and we'd all come together and play. It was a good time in the college house. Haven't really played much since then, because obviously Borderlands 3 was like 2019, I think. So, and I graduated 2020. And I didn't really play Tiny Tina's Wonderland or any of that stuff. So it'll be interesting. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, to say the least. Let's see. Let's talk about this. So, show of hands or just chats. How many of you guys played Avowed? How many of you guys in chat played Avowed? I played it. I thought it was pretty good. There were plenty of things I would tweak and, you know, a handful of problems and stuff. And I had many bugs with it. Thankfully, it seems like I was one of the only people that had a ton of problems. But, you know, I seem to absorb a lot of the bugs for most people. But Avowed similarly did pretty well. And it seemed that Xbox was pretty pleased with the performance and was pretty happy with how they did. However, like, it's almost assumed that they probably greenlit a sequel and that they're working on that. There's been some little hints and nods that maybe they were doing that. But some interesting news just dropped yesterday, which is interesting. Avowed director has quit. Carrie Patel has quit Obsidian just months after Avowed's launch. She was the director on Avowed, and she's left after working there for like 12 years. And she is moving over, as you can see here in the statement. I'm happy to share that I'm starting a new position as game director at Night School, a Netflix game studio. I mean, we've all heard of like Netflix games being a thing and that they are spending money on stuff. I don't think we've seen any of their stuff. Maybe they have. If they, oh, they did. I think they did do like a big MMO, didn't they? I don't remember which one it was, but I'm guessing this is probably financially a thing, you know, like I'm sure they gave some stock options, which are kind of hard to turn down. So it's probably a business move. Can't say I blame her, because I've heard rumblings of how much Netflix pays people, and we're in the wrong line of work, fam. Just being honest. Netflix, they just throw money around like it's candy. But Night School is most famous for its Oxenfree series of games, the most recent being 2023's Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals. The Netflix-owned studio launched Black Mirror spin-off Thronglets earlier this year. Around the same time, it suffered an unknown number of layoffs. Months before, Netflix completely shut down another one of its studios working on a AAA project headed up by Halo veteran Joseph Staten. Patel had been a veteran of Avowed, developer Obsidian, and over 11 years worked in various senior positions on games such as Xbox sci-fi RPG The Outer Worlds and Pillars of Eternity. More recently, Patel had taken the reins on directing Avowed after the game was rebooted in its early development. Avowed had initially been planned with a dark fantasy setting closer to Elder Scrolls with one big open world and multiplayer co-op. The co-op stuff you can still feel. It's still very present in the game. Ultimately, Patel steered the game to launch as a brighter, more unique-looking experience, now featuring multi-large individual maps to explore and an entirely single-player experience. And I think, you know, considering it started as like a multiplayer co-op game, I think it turned out pretty good, frankly, but they definitely, you could feel some of the remnants there. But she's left and moved on and is going to work at this Netflix studio. And some people have twisted this and tried to be like, oh, see, this is an indication that Avowed flopped or was a failure or anything. Like, if anything, it's kind of an example of the opposite. Because most people who direct flops don't immediately get handed like another directorial position at a big company like, you know, a Netflix game studio. It's not that common. I mean, maybe there's something behind the scenes where like she's being told, hey, we're going to let you go. And she goes, finds another job or something. Maybe. But most metrics seem to indicate that Avowed did pretty well. And Xbox was pretty pleased with its performance and its engagement levels and stuff. And she just leveraged that success into a job offer from this new company. And she's moving on. She's moving on. So kind of crazy. There you go. I was surprised to see it because I would have thought that they would have just handed her the reins for a sequel and said, go make Avowed 2. But maybe that still happens just with a new director or whatever. But it is surprising to see her leave pretty much immediately. But I'm guessing, like we said earlier, I'm guessing it's because there was a fat paycheck sitting right next to that job offer. That would be my guess. Netflix games obviously a heart and soul situation. Yeah, exactly. People are just really passionate about Netflix games. That's the thing. That's it. I don't understand why people still want to frame Avowed as a flop. I mean, I'm sure it's like the same thing with Shadows. It's like the cultural thing, or cultural debates and scandals and stuff. I don't know. I'm like, if it's a game that launched on Game Pass and a lot of people played and liked it, that's good. I'm sorry you didn't like some of the people that worked on it, but that shouldn't really, in my opinion, that shouldn't affect your evaluation of the game. Like if you're just evaluating it as a game. You know, it's unfair for a publication like Polygon or IGN to bash Black Myth Wukong because they don't like some of the developers on it, because they think they made too many crude jokes online. I don't think it's fair to say, oh, because these people who make crude jokes online or crude poems or whatever it was, therefore the entire game needs to be thrown out, like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Like, these 3 people said things I didn't like online, therefore shut the game down. I just don't think that sort of Puritan attitude is healthy in any sort of, you know, creative medium or industry. It's like, it's just not helpful. Okay. Dude, puppy is going off upstairs. He's upset. I would bring him down here, but the problem is he's not fully potty trained yet, so he's just gonna end up peeing and pooping on the carpet. So he has like a little playpen upstairs where he hangs out, and you know, in between when we're all home or not home, and it's been good for him. But every once in a while he's like, I want to come out, I want to play, and he's loud. When Doggy decides to be loud, he is very, very loud. Oh yeah, this was interesting. This was very interesting. Doom hit 3 million players according to Bethesda. Also, did you finish it? I'm very close to finishing it. I was playing something else. Kind of mixed in with it, but I'm very, very close to it. I started experimenting with the higher difficulties and game speed stuff, and I actually think it makes the game a good bit better when you start to crank it. But yeah, I am very, very close to finishing it. And the 3 million player number, I mean, player numbers, you can't really make much of them, like, because player number means both people that bought the game and played the whole thing, and it also means people that downloaded the game through Game Pass and played it for 5 minutes. So you just don't know what that actually practically means in terms of like actual long-term engagement. What would be helpful is like hours played or average play time, things like that. But either way, I mean, it seems to be doing well enough. I think the legacy of it will be that it's not as good as like Eternal, but I think people are having a good time with it. You know, it's like, it's good. It's not the best in the series, but it's good. And I mean, to a certain extent, that alone is an accomplishment nowadays. But still, compare that to Oblivion. I mean, comparing anything to Oblivion, I think, is going to get blown out. Like, you're comparing one of the biggest surprise drops of the year. But it's, yeah, I mean, it's also, you have to ask questions about the type of game that it is. If you're going to play a game like Oblivion, playing through Steam is often a good idea, because if you are somebody that engages with mods, I'm just telling you, trying to play and mod an Xbox Game Pass version of a game is a nightmare. Don't do it. Just get it on Steam. It works way, way, way better. Way, way, way better. Just do it that way. And a lot of people do that, where they buy the game on Steam because they want to mod it. Whereas like Doom, who's modding Doom? Like, not many people, I would guess. But okay, let's touch on this real quick. New segment. We talked about Star Citizen the other day because they got really, really greedy. They started charging for something that they were going to bring and make earnable in-game later, but they weren't making it in-game attainable when they launched it for purchase. They were blades for ships, which basically are like enhancements or augments for your ships to make them control differently, or, you know, easier to control, slower moving or faster moving, harder to control, stuff like that. And they're going to charge like 12, 14, 15 bucks for these a piece. And then they were going to make it earnable in the game later this summer. And naturally, people freaked out and were like, this is anti-consumer. This is bad. There's going to be organizations that don't let people into the org unless they've paid for those augments, because otherwise they're not competitive with the other ships that have them. So if you want to join our organization, you need to spend 80 bucks on those augments for your ship, and you got to have it on all of your ships. And that's just how the game starts to fall apart, is that it just becomes pay to win. You know, if you want to excel, you have to spend more money. So they walked it back. And they were like, okay, we're going to still sell them, but we're going to sell them when they're earnable in game. Whatever. Okay, so there's that. But the broader discussion around Star Citizen was that they are starting to run low on cash, and, you know, they are raising a lot of money, certainly, but their expenses are growing exponentially faster than their income is growing. And that doesn't work for long. If you've got a cash pile, you can drain that for a little while, but eventually you need to either cut costs or you need to increase the money you're bringing in. It's not rocket science. And so they're in sort of a tough spot. And there's news that they're maybe in an even tougher spot today.
Jimbo404 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you, Jimbo.
Imagine going through double the budget for RDR2 over 10 years and still not releasing a game.
Yeah, dude. They've raised $812 million. And I don't think that even counts like venture capital investment. I could be wrong about that, but I think that that number is just from like regular, you know, normal people buying ships and that type of thing. Like they've spent so much money. It's insane. It's up to 822. Oh, so they raised 10 million in the last handful of days. Well, there you go. There you go. But what is this news? Well, Star Citizen loses integral staff responsible for server meshing. Insider Gaming has learned that over the past several months, Cloud Imperium Games, or CIG, you'll hear it referred to a lot, who are the devs behind Star Citizen, have lost several integral staff responsible for the server meshing. Roger Godfrey, the lead producer for the core tech server meshing, publicly left the company in December. But since then, the department has seen other key figures leave. Ivan C., a producer, Jordan Wood, a network programmer, are two names who are mentioned and are said to have been integral to server meshing, with staff saying that their departure is a quote-unquote huge loss to the company. While it's unclear on why all three left CIG in a relatively short period of time, it's understood that internal tensions surrounding Turbulent and CIG's takeover in late 2023 is one major cause. According to those familiar with the situation, the takeover resulted in staff from Turbulent wanting more lucrative roles within Cloud Imperium Games. It eventually saw some staff described as unqualified for the roles failing upwards and taking over key positions, which has become hugely unpopular internally. I can only imagine. CIG's losses mean that the only two producers that worked on server meshing have now left the company. Who's up meshing their servers now? That's a great question. That's a great question. I genuinely asked what more features can they add, like for crying out loud, why has this game been in alpha for 13 years? Says Happy Muro, who's familiar with the game. I think to a certain extent, it was sort of this symbiotic relationship where they understood if they added things to the scope of the game, they could continue riding the gravy train and continue making lots and lots of money. Because the inherent problem for CIG, and they are all too aware of this, is that at some point they will have to change their monetization strategy. Like right now, they've been raising lots of money with this strategy, but at some point, selling ships and doing this really, really aggressive thing, they'll have to cut that off or at least minimize it. And this other strategy that doesn't really exist now, which is just buying the game outright and maybe paying a monthly fee for it or something, that will have to take over. But that almost certainly doesn't make as much money as this version of the business model right now, where they're just milking whales dry, basically. And they don't want to have to do this because this means less money. This means you are getting this much less money between these two points. So they don't want this day to come anytime soon, the leaders, because it means that the gravy train ends. So they kind of have an incentive to never finish and to just keep coming up with reasons to push this further and further and further down the line. But the problem is you can only do that so long before everybody just starts to realize what you're doing. And I think at this point, after 13 years, people know what they're doing. And even like the most hardcore fans are like, okay, let's lock it in. Let's polish, get it out, ready for launch. But like they don't really want to do that because they know when they do that, they're going to have to shut this down, because the average consumer who they want to buy this game for $70-$80, they are not going to tolerate $1,500 ships. They're not going to tolerate, a massive org that requires you to have spent thousands in order to join. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And if they think that they can continue selling $1,500 ships while also trying to appeal to the mass market, I think they're high, because the average consumer is going to laugh them out of town. And you see it in the reaction to videos made on Star Citizen, not within the community. If I make a video on Star Citizen going out to the broader gaming public, they are baffled anybody is spending thousands on ships for a video game. They're like, what do you mean they're doing? Like, what? Who is doing that? But if you flip it and you look at the inside of the Star Citizen community, people are like, yeah, no, it's pretty normal. I mean, I got a good deal on it and I use it for my org and we all share the ship and it works fine. But it's totally different. It's totally different, those two groups. And I think once you try to get the core gaming group to behave like the currently established group of Star Citizen fans, it's just not going to work. It just doesn't click. And I don't see any indication that they have any plans for how to deal with that. Is that stuff actually selling? Yeah. Dude, they make so much money. It's unbelievable. RSI Cloud Imperium Games play progress tracker. Is this it? No, that's the roadmap. Support maybe? No. Shop? Here it is. Dude, on the 15th, they made $2.7 million. On the 16th, they made about the same. On the 17th, ooh, it was a rough day. They only made about $2.2 million. On the 18th, they made about 1.3 million. 19th, they went up to about 1.85. Dude, they make so much money. But even then, they're making this kind of money, but they're an international studio with thousands of devs. And this doesn't pay the bills even still. And this is like during a big period where they're doing this like free fly event where you can try a bunch of ships for free. So people will try them, then buy them. Most of their months are down in like somewhere between 7 and 10 million, you know, on average. But they have months where they pop off like November, December, where they're getting 17 or $20 million in that month. But that's not sustainable for a company of this size. It's just not. So they need a lot more money and they need more reliable revenue, which is why I think they'll eventually transition to like a paid subscription model where like you pay $50 a month. And yeah, I think it's going to be that much. I think it's going to be a lot. They'll have you pay like $50 a month in order to play. And that's how they're going to do it. And but again, I just don't think that the broader gaming public tolerates that. When I made my video like 6 days ago, they were only at 812 million.
Caleb donated $50 through Super Chat.
Thank you,
Luke,
Jesus.
This is Chris Roberts' mom. He is really upset that you would insinuate that his game is a sham. He has worked hard and thinks people will love it when they get to fly their $20,000 ship that they'll definitely
get to fly. I'm sorry, Chris Roberts' mom. I'm sorry. Thank you. Incredibly generous $50 super chat. Yeah, I'm very sorry, Chris Roberts' mom. I'm very sorry. You're right. Terribly sorry. I just think like they've been riding the gravy train for so long that they've picked up speed. They've refused to get off at the multiple train stations. And now they're headed straight towards a cliff. And they have no plans. They don't know how to deal with it. It's like there really is no parachute. There's no saving grace. I just don't know what on earth they do. Because in order to get somebody like me to recommend it to my audience, I think they have to break it down and be like, okay, it's going to be a $70 game. And it's just so massive and so impressive and so polished and so cool that it's worth that price. People buy it, and maybe you do like a season pass, a battle pass. They do something like that, I guess, which already like that's a tough sell, but maybe you could do that. But that's like acceptable in regular gaming spheres, is like premium product, battle pass, maybe paid cosmetics as well. That's like pushing it. But their business is currently built on selling $1,500 spaceships, and they're still financially in trouble. So I don't know if they're willing to take the leap of faith to like strip all that out, all the pay to win stuff out. And I know some people are like, oh no, it's not pay to win because you can still play the game without spending money for the big ships. I get that. But perception is reality. For the average consumer, if they see that they get to start on a rinky-dink little spaceship that's super slow, can't go very far, and they see that, and then they compare it to the dude that was willing to spend $1,000 on a crazy spaceship, and they see that guy flying that around, zipping around, having a fantastic time, the perception is that the game is pay to win. If you spend more money, you'll have more fun. And that's what you have to deal with. Like, I know that, oh, well, technically you don't win automatically if you spend more. Okay, but who cares? The perception is if you spend more, you have more fun. And that's the problem. That is at its core the problem, you know? What is there to win? Well,
Hanorm donated $10 through Super Chat.
That's why I think it's about
the fun. They are at the point where they have collectively raised over $1 billion when counting investors. They burn 120 to 150 M in ship, cosmetic sales per year and need at least that much to stay afloat.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if at this point with venture capital, with, you know, outside investors and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if they're over $1 billion at this point. But they're just in trouble. Because like, even if they get Squadron 42 out the door, and let's say that actually ships and is really good and is like a 9 out of 10 game and everybody's recommending it and spending $70 on it, they buy that. Some of them spill over into the persistent universe and they'll buy some ships in there and they'll do that. But what's next? Because even a really successful game like that, like a phenomenally successful game, might bring in $1 billion. You know, might do that. That might buy them some time, certainly. But what's the follow-up? What's the next step? What do you do? Work on Squadron 43? You know, like, what do you do? I don't know. Horm, thank you for that. Going back to the article, yeah. So let's see. We read that. Okay. In addition to server meshing staff, CIG has been hit with a wave after wave of layoffs to staff from every level. Again, because they're trying to cut costs because they're running out of money. As for what the future holds for server meshing, it's unclear, but it's known that it's a fundamental part to Cloud Imperium's games and its project. It is. It's kind of Star Citizen Persistent Universe doesn't work in its current form unless you have that functioning. Yep. Last year they reported where a lot of that backer money is going and why Star Citizen continues to be in development hell. This article was in October of 2024. And in that they said it's a mandate that was quickly altered after staff raised question about the legality surrounding it. This was because they set up like this whole, as you can see here, October 1st, they hit developer inboxes with a new mandate from the global head of production, Aaron Roberts, who's working on CitizenCon deliverables, must work every day, including weekends, until October 19th. The mandate forced employees to work 19 straight days for a minimum of 8 hours per day until CitizenCon, with time off in lieu being offered for the Saturday and Sunday hours worked, as well as breakfast goods and lunch being offered. The mandate that was quickly altered after staff raised questions about the legality surrounding it. So instead, CIG opted to give employees Sunday off if they met the minimum threshold of 56 hours worked Monday to Saturday, a change that would still be illegal in UK law if CIG's employee contracts didn't contain an opt-out agreement of the 48-hour weekly limit. In addition to the sudden change, Insider Gaming had also asked for comment on our original report on the mandate, which has seemingly prompted an email sent by Aaron Roberts to staff to also give employees October 21st off as a free company holiday. Like, they started demanding people work at minimum 56 hours in the lead up to this CitizenCon. And if you don't know CitizenCon, it's a conference that they hold every year. Where's a picture of it? I want just a picture of it. It's a big conference they hold where they showcase a bunch of stuff with the game, but it's like super expensive to run. And I believe they said that this year they're going digital. They're not actually going to hold it in person. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they said that it's only digital. Yeah, CitizenCon Direct will be streamed on Twitch and YouTube. There won't be a traditional in-person CitizenCon in 2025. Because they spent millions of dollars on it last year. And I don't think they see much of a benefit. So they're canceling the in-person one and moving on. I don't know. The whole thing is a mess. And I think that it's interesting because a lot of their financials are staggered by a year. So they revealed their 2023 financials, and those were already starting to look a little bit worrisome. And I'm guessing 2024 financials were even more worrisome. And in the last 6 months, I'm sure they're just scrambling because they need money. And I don't know. I think at this point, the only way that they can get a big chunk of cash is Squadron 42 and that launching to good reviews. and people buying it and, you know, actually engaging with it. So that needs to do, like, I would say a 9 out of 10 on Metacritic, basically, and kind of pierce the veil of the casual gamer. And then I think you could find some success. I think that could work. But otherwise, I don't think any of this really can work out. Because again, at the end of the day, they just don't have the money to keep this going. They just don't. And I don't think selling more $1,500 ships will save it. So they got to figure it out. Recoil Control, thank you for the 3 months. Oh, baby. And Orc, thank you for the 10 months. Oh, damn. Thank you. And Horm, thank you also again for the membership. Very generous. And Francisco the Disco, thank you for the 2. Bethesda, please do the funniest troll and fix Starfield. That would be funny. And to their credit, at least Starfield released. So there's that. At least that's a thing. I'll give them that. This is going to crash and burn. I mean, there's the other piece of this is that Star Citizen doesn't work without major server infrastructure being like built and maintained. And so if CIG, if RSI, like if they end up in serious financial trouble and they're at the point where they're like, we're going bankrupt. If they turn off the servers, like Star Citizen Persistent Universe just doesn't work. Like there is no offline mode. There is no, oh, I'm playing it this way. Like there is nothing like that. You're just screwed. And that would be perhaps a poetic way for this to end. You know, if they end up actually running out of money, shutting everything down, and then all those people that spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, all of it's gone and they can never play it again. That'd be crazy. I mean, but it's not impossible to imagine a situation like that happening. They got to figure it out. But my $42,000 ship, yeah, dude, that would be so funny. Yeah, dude. Well, and it's even then, like, what do you do? Like, there'd be people that probably would threaten to sue them, but like the company's defunct. You can go after Chris Roberts, but he's probably also going to be out of money if that happens. Like, what do you do? Like, there isn't a solution. You're just screwed. You can do a class action lawsuit. They sell the assets of the company, but I'm guessing they also, this other thing, they also have some other debts. I mean, they're not a company that's debt free. So, you know, there's other obligations, whether it's leases or other things, you know, because if just for example, if they sign like a 2-3 year lease for an office building that they're renting out and they decide they have to shut down the company only a year into that lease. When they go bankrupt and they do all that, the landlord can go after them for the rent that they owe for the rest of the lease term. And they probably are getting paid out before you do, before the class action lawsuit, you know? So either way, it's the technical term is it's bad. It's bad. It's a poopy. They are in a poopy situation. Okay. Hopefully we're all tracking. John, thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, did you see Helldivers 2 numbers are popping off? It's funny. Sony's most successful live service is from a studio they don't own. Yeah, and I mean, the updates are pretty good. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I've been eating it up. If you haven't played Helldivers in a while, you should pop back in and try it because they've added a lot of stuff. John Donuts, thank you for the 5 as well. Hey, Luke, did you see? Oh, did it post the same one? Oh, oops. Oh, well, thank you for the double super chat. It's the same message. I feel it all the more. Can we get a Jor celebration? Hold on. I have to find it. Was it in memes? Yeah, it was. Jor. Where's the Jor? That's the AI one. Was that the video? No. Where's Jor celebrating? Here it is. Yay! It's my favorite video that's ever been made. It's the favorite video that's ever been made. Yeah, if you want to connect to the Discord, somebody was saying that they tried the link or a link to the Discord. Any links to the Discord won't work. They're for old Discord server. The new one, it's for members and Twitch subs. All you have to do is go into your Discord settings, connections, and connect your account, whether it's Twitch or YouTube, to Discord, and then you'll receive an auto invite to the server. It'll be under the connections tab, so you can join us there. And when you join, you'll feel like this. It's all I've ever wanted. Oh man. Oh, that's a fantastic video. That's a fantastic video. It's a fantastic video. Okay. There we go. Bend Over, what a name. Thank you for the 10. Joe Cross, art director for Marathon, is in Concord's credits under former Firewalkers as art director. Oh. So he worked on that before? Oh, that's interesting. What's the opposite of Midas? Like King Midas, everything he touches turns to gold. What would be everything you touch turns to actual poo? What would that be? I wonder what that would be. I don't know. There's got to be something. King Shitus. King Shitus, yes. Machu Picchu, thank you for the membership. Thank you. That's good. That's good. Oh, Kathleen. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy reference. That's good. That's a deep cut. That's funny. That's very, very funny. Okay, real quick, let's check this out because you guys have been asking for it. We should look at it. News. So Jacob, just so you know, when we clip this, I want to give Destin's video plenty of time to breathe. So I think we only post it like this weekend or something, or maybe Friday or something like that. Give it time. But I'll lead into it. Okay, everyone. Well, or how do I want to lead this in? Okay. Marathon. Not great, a famous person once said. I believe I read that in the Bible, and it's a statement that's proven true more and more as time has gone by. This game is just radioactive at this point. Seriously, just when you think you've seen like the worst of it, and you're like, there's no way this gets worse. There's no way there's more. There's more. Every single time. It really is remarkable. I mean, it's almost like a talent at this point. And friend of the channel, true friend of the channel, Destin, actually made a video speaking to multiple different devs over at Bungie, of course, anonymously, because he doesn't want to get them fired or anything. But he did collect a bunch of their statements and everything, and you guys have said that this is a very, very interesting watch. So we're going to check it out. As always, you should definitely go subscribe to Destin. Destin's an OG of games journalism. We actually showed this earlier on stream because it's very, very funny that I was just yesterday watching a Kroby Cat video, and in the Kroby Cat video you click on it and the very first guy, who's that? It's Destin from way back in the day. Okay, talking about Evolve. That's a deep cut, man. So Destin's an OG, and you should go subscribe to him because he went solo now and is still doing great reporting. So let's go see what he has to say. Let's check it out.
Bungie has been bearing the brunt of the backlash for the Marathon art theft allegations, and rightfully so. In my opinion, the entire aesthetic of the game is clearly inspired by the artist Anti-Real, to the point I can't see it without seeing Anti-Real's influence. And Bungie is going to need to contend with the fact that their studio has now been given the nickname Art Raiders, making the...
Which also is just such a funny thing, because it both ties in the story of stealing art, which they've been accused of many times, I think 4 times now, but also is a direct tie-in to their lead competitor for later this year, which is Arc Raiders, which is by all accounts and measures a much better extraction game. Like, it's just built out more. There's way more stuff, whether you look at solo queues, prox chat. I think graphically it's more built out. The assets are better. Like, just in general, I think it's a more complete package. And so the Art Raiders reference is, ooh, it's fantastic. So good.
The outlook grim for their extraction shooter. Beyond that story, I started digging into Bungie a bit more after public statements were made from former employees. I reported on these yesterday as they described a work environment tainted by toxic management. Today, after speaking with a handful of ex-employees, the picture painted wasn't much brighter. One person said, "The solution lies in holding leadership accountable." Another ex-employee said, "I hope they get consolidated into Sony. That's the path forward."
The one thing that you'll hear from pretty much everybody that speaks openly who has worked or is working at Bungie is that the leadership is the problem. Like, I've seriously not come across a single person that has worked or is working at Bungie who is like happy with the leadership. Like, you remember when Sam Altman was suddenly like let go from OpenAI? You might not, because it happened over the course of like a day and then they walked it back. Because when they tried to boot him out of OpenAI, a bunch of the engineers, a lot of the senior level management and senior level engineers all said they were leaving with Sam to go start a new company if he was booted out, because they liked him as a leader. They appreciated his leadership. They thought that he actually could deliver on the visions of the company and all that. Do you think anybody would do that at Bungie? If like one of the Bungie executives was fired, do you think a lot of these people would be quitting to follow them? I don't think so. I think everybody knows that the Bungie executives right now are literally just sitting on their hands, waiting until their stock options vest, probably later this year to early next year, so that they can ride off into the sunset with their, tens of millions that they'll get as a result of that. And so they're just biding their time. And as a result, I think there's a lot of disdain and contempt on the lower levels of the staff, because they are looking at the executives being like, you guys are making the decisions that screw us over, but we don't get a $20 million payday in January if the company still exists. We don't have an exit strategy. We don't have a retirement account. We're screwed because of your choices. And for you, it doesn't matter because you're just waiting for your stock options. And as a result, I think, it follows up with what we've seen in other reporting, which is that morale at Bungie is rock bottom. And I don't blame them. I mean, can you imagine if you knew the captain of the ship you're on is intentionally sinking it because he just doesn't care because he's about to retire tomorrow? Like, you'd be pissed the hell off, to say the least, But for them, it's just, even if Marathon doesn't do that well, I'm out of here next year anyways because my retirement's going to kick in, so I'm good. They just don't give a crap. That's really at the core of the problem. But it's all leadership. Every single person that talks about this says leadership, and I have a feeling that's going to be all the more true as we hear more of Destin's reports.
Since 2023, Bungie has reduced their headcount by roughly 320 employees, and that number doesn't include the 155 roles that were integrated into Sony or the departures of senior staff who I'm guessing were given a payday as they exited the company. The internal picture painted was one of a cool kids club where you were either agreeing with leadership's vision or you were put on a list, berated publicly, and told your ideas didn't matter.
That sounds healthy. Dude, again, just when you think you've heard the worst of it, they're like, hold my Zevia. Like, seriously, it's so unbelievable. It's just so bad. Again, I'll play it back. Just appreciate this.
Was one of a given a payday as they exited the company. The internal picture painted was one of a cool kids club where you were either agreeing with leadership's vision or you were put on a list, berated publicly, and told your ideas didn't matter. If they didn't think of it, it wasn't worth doing, one ex-employee told me. Another claimed leaders were toxic and shut down creatives on a core level, which corroborated the unfortunate story we heard yesterday. The kind of ideas that I'm being told leadership pitched aren't surprising but are concerning as a longtime player and fan of Bungie. In one meeting, Adding a subscription to Destiny was brought up only to be vehemently shut down by staff. Another former employee claimed there was a concern about Trials of Osiris PvP armor being too attractive with its glow effect. The worry was that it was too good and would impact Eververse sales. The Eververse, for those who don't know, is the store where you convert real money into silver and then purchase in-game cosmetics.
Oh, yeah, God forbid it affects that. Jeez. It's just, again, you just can't make this up. You have to laugh or you'll cry, you know. It's
Another
ridiculous.
ex-employee also recounted a meeting where staff was given a huge monetization scolding. Everything happening to Bungie is because of greed, another employee said. Clearly, the state of Destiny 2, and therefore Bungie, was and still is at a critical point in their history. Rumors continue to swirl since this turmoil began in 2023. Claims swirling like the rumor that leaders were given multi-million-dollar penthouses to use as crash pads, something many former employees believed Bungie was footing the bill for.
What? How is that a thing? Hold on. Take it back.
Crash pad.
What?
Like the rumor that leaders were given multi-million-dollar penthouses to use as crash pads, something many former employees believed Bungie was footing the bill for.
If we're hearing rumors about this, you know, just again, we jokingly said in that Marathon video, like, why isn't Sony giving them time to delay Marathon to next year? It's almost like they want it to fail. And we jokingly were like, oh, conspiracy theory. Maybe they're doing that because they actually want Marathon to fail, so they have a reason to get rid of executives at Bungie so they don't have to pay them their big paydays, because Sony feels lied to and misled after the acquisition, and they want to screw over these executives, but they have to do it in this like legally robust way where they can avoid potential counter lawsuits, where if they just fired them right now, they could just get sued for wrongful termination and be a massive headache. But if Marathon fails, they can take that to court and just be like, see, they failed. The product failed, so we fired them. And yeah, they didn't get their paychecks. They didn't get their stock options redeemed because they didn't fulfill the terms of the agreement, whatever, and that's it. Like, it's actually looking more and more likely, dude. Like, it's some Succession level stuff, but you never know. You never know. This reminds me of all that weird stuff that came out about Activision Blizzard, where they had the Cosby Suite and all that gross stuff. Yeah, it's like when they say the term boys club, like it's kind of it's a term that is kind of tossed around willy-nilly. But effectively what's being alleged by some former employees at Bungie is that like the work environment at Bungie was so freaking toxic that executives were having the company, allegedly, pay for penthouses in the like Washington, Seattle, Bellevue, whatever area. And that executives were staying there, living there, having parties there, whatever. And the company was paying for all of it, which is, I mean, that's some Wolf of Wall Street kind of fraud, mismanagement level stuff. I mean, I don't even know how you could possibly do that and get away with it, but that's what's being alleged. And it literally was just a collection of this core group of people that were the leaders and the executives who have been there forever. And if you disagreed with them, if you didn't agree with this or that they said, you're screwed and you're booted out. And they mock you and basically try to bully you into quitting. You know, like, it's crazy. Tazmeister, thank you for the membership, by the way. And Fearless Wolf, money talks, bullshit walks. You should know this with your background in business. It's the only answer. Yeah, the only other thing I've learned is also very true in business is that you should never attribute to malice that which can adequately be explained by incompetence. And the problem is that for Bungie, there's a lot that seems even too ridiculous for just incompetence to explain it. Like, it starts to really look like the executives were not just stupid in how they ran Bungie, but they were malicious, allegedly. In my opinion.
Bender the Offender donated $10 through Super Chat. Conspiracy theories are just spoiler alerts at this point.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's, again, the truth is stranger than fiction often. And in this case, like, we started joking about, oh, maybe Sony is like trying to do this just to screw over the executives so they can fire them without getting sued. And as time goes by, it's like, bro, if that's not what they're doing, they have to be like, oh, well, no sweat off my back. They have to be like, oh, at least there's a silver lining to this whole shutting down Bungie thing. Like, we get to fire the executives, you know?
And if that was the story being told internally, it's easy to see why a lack of competitive pay, cut corners, and needed positions never being filled led to many seeking new employment. Bungie's problems stem from a lack of player empathy, disconnected leadership, and a corporate-first culture.
Lack of player empathy. I don't think I've heard that term. But I think that there might actually be. That's a good term, because it's like even something to the extent of like the skin. It looks too cool, so we don't want to put it in because it might affect our sales of other stuff. Like they don't think of it from the player's perspective that, hey, we just want good skin so we don't have to pay for it. They don't give a crap about that. It's like, well, is this going to affect our money? Yes. Okay, don't do it. Like it's very telling, I think. Very, very telling. Happy Karma didn't help that Chris Barrett was fired for misconduct mid-development. Yeah, and he's suing them. And I think Sony knows if they were to fire other executives, even though, I mean, there's just the stuff that's been made public that we've heard about, there seems to be plenty of material to fire them for misconduct, allegedly. Even just the accusation over the penthouse thing, that would be fireable. Like if I found out that Jacob was using the company credit card to like go and throw parties for him and his friends, there would be a big problem. You know, we have a problem. But they're alleging that that was just a regular thing, that they were renting out multi-million-dollar penthouses and stuff. Like that's insane. That's crazy. But I think what they saw with that lawsuit from Barrett was, okay, there's going to be lawsuits filed if we do this. So we have to be more precise. We have to be like very, very careful, have our ducks in a row. And as a result, I think they are, I think they're getting things lined up very carefully. So when they do shuffle the management, they can go to a court or they can go to arbitration and they can say, no, we gave them these goals. They failed to meet those goals and reach those goals. And that's why they're failing. And then they can demonstrate clearly with like marathon player numbers, marathon revenue numbers, whatever, that it's
Jimbo
not
404
enough, you know?
donated $10 through Super Chat. Coming from the defense industry, holding management responsible for failures is the best way to improve the AAA game dev industry.
I agree, Jimbo. I totally agree. Thank you for the 10. And I mean, it's also just morale is really important in creative endeavors. It just is. Like artists do better work when artists feel secure, when they feel like their art is valued and protected, and when they are able to create in a comfortable environment. Like that, those things are important. And I think when you have a company that's filled with people that hate their leadership and have active disdain and contempt for them, you shouldn't be surprised when those people, don't put out the best work or are struggling to maintain high morale because, they're miserable at they're working crazy hours and the only people getting rich are the executives that they hate, I don't blame them.
One former employee said. Thankfully, when pressed to talk about the positive impact, some names did come up. I do want to specify that I can thankfully say Jason Jones, for example, was one person I inquired about, and sources told me he wasn't around much, but on sabbatical for personal reasons. In addition, many felt Eric Osborne was a great leader who got a bad ending. Luis Villegas was also described as being well-liked, and Joe Blackburn, who left last year, cared like nobody else. But in addition to the good, I was told about the bad, and unprompted and universally, HR was highlighted as a major problem. Each person I spoke with expressed anger at a specific individual who has since left the company. Ex-employees claimed that HR was working in their own interest, and there were accusations that issues of harassment were being covered up so that HR could get a multi-million-dollar exit.
That's not good. That is bad. Like, there's the potential that Sony could go and file a series of lawsuits against these executives and like take them to town and not pay them a penny, but actually get a lot of money out of them. Because when you do, like we did this in real estate, we had a couple of instances like this where like at one point we sold a building, an apartment building, and the buyers, they believed that it had not been fully disclosed that the property had like, I think it was some lien from the county with regard to like some of the piping under the building. It was like for the water lines and stuff. So there was a problem with the county and the structure. And when the property was sold, they understood it to be one way. But then upon further investigation, they found out that it was a different way. The title company had been wrong, blah, blah, blah. So a lawsuit kickstarted off and they named everybody involved in the deal in that lawsuit. And it turned out to basically be a title company issue. The title company should have found that problem and communicated it. So they had to pay it out. But because the terms of the agreement were not what they appeared to be initially, in that case, it was just oversight and incompetence that led to information not being available to the buyer. But they sued them and they got the money back. If they could demonstrate that like Bungie leadership was intentionally covering up misconduct, intentionally covering up misbehaviors, misspending, like for penthouse parties, allegedly. If they found out that there were things like that that were intentionally being covered up, I mean, in that case, Sony could go after those executives for punitive damages in addition to just damages. Because like, yeah, we wouldn't have bought Bungie for $3.7 billion if we had known all of that was here. Maybe they say it would have been worth $3 billion or $2 billion or whatever, but it would not have been worth 3.7. And so then they could go and file the lawsuits against the previous owners and effectively try to get some of that money back because they were misled. The problem is it's been a while. I don't know if there's a set timeline you have for this type of thing. So I don't know if they are limited there. And it's also, I mean, with these things, if you're going to say that they were covering stuff up, you have to be able to prove that they were covering it up. And that might be an even tougher thing to establish at this point. So it's not super clear. But either way, I mean, there's plenty of material here. It certainly seems.
To give you some context about just how much that Sony deal was worth to employees, we can glean a bit from the Christopher Barrett lawsuit against Bungie.
Yeah.
There, we can see that he was set to make $84 million. Due to the status of the HR person in question, that number wasn't $84 million, but one employee estimated they were due around $5 million.
These are like HR managers. Barrett was the game director on Marathon before he was booted out, and he stood to make over $80 million. Like, other game directors make good money. Todd makes good money. I wouldn't be surprised if Todd's worth like 50 million or something at this point. But 80 million because Bungie sold. Like, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Absolutely wild. It's just insane. But all of these people who had been there for a long time, who had been involved with Bungie for a long time, they all had little pieces of the pie. And when the pie got bought by PlayStation, they all made so much money. I mean, we can look at all this and also be like, oh, the executives are insane. This is all ridiculous. And it is. But also what's even more ridiculous is that Sony was willing to pay $3.7 billion for it. Like, all of these problems are so present and obvious to everybody. And Sony still spent close to $4 billion on it. Makes me think I should make a company and sell it to Sony.
Former staff described being closely monitored on social media, not just for commenting about layoffs or company issues, but also for things as simple as promoting the work they had done at Bungie. If you did speak out publicly about either a personal issue or you promoted your own work, you could expect an email as soon as 15 minutes later to hit your inbox, one person claimed. Employees were warned against promoting themselves publicly, one ex-employee said. And as for the legacy issues, one guessed, the problems have just shifted to Marathon instead. Ironically, the one thing that helped the situation was Marathon, mostly because leaders who were difficult to work with at Bungie were moved to work on Marathon. But that also meant other employees, such as those from the Sony side, with little or no game development experience, took that place. And all of this has caused structural issues that severely undermined the studio's culture, decision-making, and the final product. Games weren't games anymore, they were products. Players weren't players anymore, they were customers. And that subtle tonal shift was felt. Now, we've all seen the fallout from the Sony Bungie deal and Bungie's 45.
I mean, even one of the descriptions I saw, somebody, forgive me, I can't remember who said it or who I saw it from, but it was somebody was describing Marathon as like the quintessential example of what a company does when they've run out of ideas and are just trying to do the thing that makes the most money the fastest. Because they're like, it's a game where you can have not a lot of content because it is inherently repetitive, where the community is okay with grinding the same maps 1,000 times because they're trying to get in, extract. You'd have some dynamic stuff that keeps things interesting, but you don't need to have much. And you can sell skins, you can sell cosmetics, things like that to make easy money. You can also sell it as a premium product because other extraction shooters have been sold at premium prices. And you just start to feel like Marathon is a game that's been built, again, not because it was the best game that they could think of, but because they thought it was the easiest product to sell, which is ironic now seeing where they're at. But it seems like that might have been at least a major piece of the consideration. Then they worked on it for a while with Barrett. They dumped Barrett, he got fired, and then they brought in Joe Ziegler. And, you know, maybe he's the one, you know, one of the other victims in this is that I don't think Joe Ziegler is a bad guy. When I met him, he was a very, very nice guy, very, very sharp, very smart, and very welcoming and warm. And he has only been at the company for like 2.5 years. He came in from Valorant, and I think he was like, I'm going to try to make this game good. I'm going to try to fix it up and get it where it needs to be. But he's just having to try to throw this together really, really rushed. And then he's having to deal with all this other stuff that he had nothing to do with, like the art style stuff, which happened before he joined the company, which he has nothing to do with. And then the other stuff with like the rush timelines, which he has nothing to do. Like, without a doubt, I think he's in a really tough spot. And I do feel for him because he literally didn't do anything wrong. He's just having to deal with all this crap.
5% revenue miss. A miss like that means developer jobs and cut corners, but even the former employees feel like a lot of us do. They just want to see Bungie do better. One former employee said, "It makes me sad to know there are so many talented people that can make great things, but are still answering to management that can't stop shooting themselves in the foot. They make bad decision after bad decision. It's not even surprising when a news story breaks."
Yeah, at this point, it's just going to par for the course. At least they're largely staying off Twitter, which is something you cannot say for like Randy Pitchford. It's like, bro, put the phone down. Borderlands 4 looks cool. Stop talking. Okay, just stop, please.
Another lamented, "I just want the devs to be okay." I tweeted this publicly a few years back, and I'm saying this is my personal take on the whole situation. The buck stops with leadership, and that leader is CEO Pete Parsons. After hearing this, I stand by my statement made in frustration that said it's clear Bungie can't succeed with him at the helm. And every time we hear a new story, that becomes even more clear. I know a lot of people at Bungie, and I agree that I want them to be okay. But something quite clearly needs to change. Sony knows this. Bungie knows this. I think we all know this too. And at this point, that change is either going to happen or Bungie as we know it is done.
I agree. But again, there's this big, fat albatross around their throat, which is these big paydays that are still allegedly, hypothetically, in the works. Because when Sony bought the company, they said, okay, in 3 years, we're going to check in. And if you've achieved this, you get your payday. In 2 years, we'll do it. In 1 year, you get this payout. 2 years, get this. 3 years, get that. 4 years, get that. Because they want to retain the talent for a set period of time. And if it is the case that some of these big head honchos, like the CEO, have some of these big paydays still incoming, any sort of disciplinary action is going to be met with major lawsuits claiming Sony fired me because they just don't want to pay me. So if Sony wants to get rid of them, they have to be very, very careful. And that's why I think it makes sense if they wanted to just shove Marathon out the door. Because Sony can be like, no, you've worked on the game for 6 years. We can demonstrate in court that that's plenty of time to make a video game. And We gave you plenty of time to do previews. We gave you a big marketing budget. We did all this stuff. You just have to put the game out in September. And if it works and they make billions off of Marathon, Sony's happy. They're good. But if it doesn't, they now get to get rid of that leadership. Like, I think this is some like 4D chess stuff going on here. All of this is a matter of consideration. It's the same thing. Like, you think Microsoft coming and like wanting to put Steam on their Xbox consoles for the next generation. You think they're doing that just out of the goodness of their heart? No. All of this is to prime themselves for future business moves. So when they get sued or when they go to court and talk to regulators, they can be like, no, we're the good guys. We're open as a platform. We brought Steam onto our hardware. Sony didn't do that. That's why we should be allowed to buy Ubisoft. That's why we should be allowed to buy this company, because we're an open platform. All of these things, it's never just one decision. These moves are made with massive considerations of everything else going on. And for Sony, it may seem like, hey, we're rushing the game out in September. That might seem short-sighted until you look at the broader picture, and you might start to see that there's some other things going on, you know?
Maybe it already is. Originally, this all kicked off because of an art plagiarism scandal, and I wanted to provide an update. The Reed Southern allegation involved the leaked concept for Destiny that used his work. He said,
Yeah, this one, in case you're not familiar with it, you can see here like the original artwork compared to the Bungie artwork. And it's like the exact same poses. This, like, I don't even know, did they trace it? Like, it's so close, they must have traced it. It's ridiculously close to the original work. It's crazy.
Was never contacted by anyone at Bungie over it. It's been 13 years, so my memory is a bit fuzzy, but I've been led to believe that it was outside marketing or a contractor or something doing internal pitch work. It was a leak, so it's likely it was never meant to see the light of day, whether it was Bungie's work or a contractor's, but I've never been given an official explanation. Tofu Bunny was all about the Nerf gun that lifted their concept. I can't go into specifics, but I can say that we did reach an agreement I was happy with. Hasbro took responsibility for the situation. Bungie acted as a contact to put me in touch with them. I have nothing but positive things to say about the Hasbro team and all the community managers that talked to me. They contacted me the day after my initial tweet and worked to resolve the situation quickly. They handled everything smoothly and were very polite, respectful, and apologetic. Tofu didn't think this case was comparable to the Marathon situation. They said, in my case, it was one design being lifted for the product. Well, in the Marathon case, an artist's entire visual identity is being ripped off and widely used to establish a massive part of the game's style. This is much bigger and much worse. Julian Fayola, whose depiction of the witness was used in a cutscene, said, yes, it has been resolved. I guess I'm satisfied with the outcome and the amount paid, which is significant for just one piece that was used. Really,
I would love to know the numbers we're talking about here. Like, I would love to know it. Like, if it's, because you never know. If somebody's like, it's significant, do they mean like what, $5,000? Like a lawsuit for this kind of thing, I mean, you're in the hundreds. Like, you're not messing around, you know? It makes me wonder. Oh, thank you. Thank you. How are you doing? Yeah. Thank you. She made me a PB&J sandwich, but one of my boys ate the other half. They're so hungry. They're growing so much. You're a trooper. If it's any consolation, he was barking a lot while you were gone too. Yeah, I checked on him, but he's got feelings, you know. He's good. Oh yeah. Oh good.
Samaya Gold
He gets really
donated
tired.
1,000
Yeah.
rupees through Super Chat. So the takeaway here is that Destin is cooler than Luke because he wears a shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, he wears a button up. Damn. Dude, I wore a button up one time a long time ago. I think we were going to like see a play or a musical or something that evening. So I got dressed and I filmed a video. And people in the comments were like, wow, Luke looks like he's about to go door knocking for the Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever. Like, people were kind of hardcore with it. You know what I'm realizing? That may have been Okay, that may have been why somebody did. One of the funniest ways somebody trolled me one time is they signed up. Now we have like a company email, and it's specific to me, my managers, and everything. So we don't have problems with this anymore. But back when it was just like me doing sponsorships and stuff, and it was just my email, like Gmail account, somebody signed me up for a Jehovah's Witness dating program. And I'm starting to wonder if that's why they did it. If that same person is the one that signed me up for a Jehovah's Witnesses dating website. It was like, meet a witness in your area. Like, it was pretty funny. I couldn't even be mad about it. I was like, that's pretty good. And I just realized maybe it was the same guy that left that comment about me looking like a Jehovah's Witness that did that. That would be really funny if that was if that was the same guy, dude. That would be really, really funny. Hot witnesses in your area. Check them out. Anyway, you know what, Jacob? Keep this in the segment. Keep it in. I want people to know the story, to tell my truth. Oh man, yeah, he trolled you years in advance. I'm realizing now. Anyway, I don't even remember what we were talking about. Sorry, everybody. Continuing on.
Relay 314's case has been discussed publicly. Bungie did credit him for his work. Cosmo said, "We have reached out to them and got permission to use their work and are now crediting them for this awesome community depiction of Xivu Arath." Relay responded saying, "Thanks so much for reaching out to me over the weekend and being an absolute gem of a community manager, Cosmo." And Anti-Real, the most recent case, I have not yet received comment from, but she told Gene Park at the Washington Post that the response this time has been overwhelmingly understanding, and I'm extremely thankful for the support.
Again, my recommendation to Anti-Real, get a lawyer. I know it sounds easy. Right now you're in the hurricane. You're in the hellstorm that is social media talking to you. But for real, get a lawyer. It'll be worth it in the end. Lawyer will probably tell you to sit on your hands and don't do anything until they launch Marathon and then file the lawsuit, which is probably the smartest way to do it. This is my recommendation. As somebody with a lot of lawyers in my family. Wait until they make money off of your art, and then you can make a lot of money off of them because they made money on your art, and now you get a big old chunk of that. So, if not all of it, that's the other thing. So, that's my recommendation. Anyway.
All in all, this whole story is really unfortunate, and I hope Bungie does figure out what's going on at their company, but things aren't looking great right now. If you are one of the people who spoke to me anonymously, thank you. And if you have a story to share about this or another situation, my DMs are open, and of course, you can always reach me at thedestinchannel@gmail.com. If you watched this far, thank you. Please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell to know when my content goes live. I do greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Go sub to Destin. Does lots of great coverage. Again, he's an OG of games journalism. Just look at that t-shirt. You think that t-shirt and hairstyle just happens? No. It's because he's an OG. So go give him some love, some support. Tell him I sent you. All of this is unfortunate. It is stupid. It is very dumb. But I agree with Destin. I don't think... Like, at some point... If your company's been having problems consistently for a decade, at some point you got to pause and be like, it might be us. It might be a me problem. And that seems to be the case. All of these things are like pointing at the executives, the higher level designers and stuff. And yeah, Barrett was one of them and he's gone now. But there's clearly problems present that have not been resolved. And they need to resolve them. And they still haven't. They still haven't. And I think they're running out of time, frankly. But it's also like, what if they were to fire the CEO right now, what practically can they achieve? What does that get them? And I mean, it won't make a difference for Marathon. I think Marathon's locked and loaded. I don't think there's any changing Marathon. You know, it's because I have a firm belief that the September launch date is being pushed by Sony. I don't think that's a Bungie choice. I think if Bungie had the option, they'd keep working on it for another like 5 years. I think if they could get away with just never stopping, they would just keep doing it until the executives get their paydays and leave. But The whole art team followed the artist and somehow just one person is to blame. Well, here's the tricky thing with the anti-real thing. As some people have brought up, that art style goes back to like, I think Wipeout was one of the games that did it. Let's see. Whenever I hear Wipeout, I think of like, the old like TV show where they bounce on like big red balls and fall off. That's what I think of when I think of Wipeout. But Wipeout was a video game series going back to like the 90s. And it also featured a similar graphic realism style is what they call it. And a bunch of other IP have utilized similar art styles. Let me see if I can find the thing, because there was one thread somebody made where they brought in a bunch of them. It was like, here are a bunch of examples of graphic realism. Is this it? Yeah, look at this. This guy did it. Poel did this. Why Stuff Marathon looks like this. So heads up, kids, do your homework. I give you a starter. After Designers Republic hit hard in 1996 with Wipeout, there were several other design studios who took up the torch. Case in point, Bionic Systems Germany, late 90s and early 2000s. They did this. This is not anti-real. These are separate designs. Then there was Bureau Destruct since the 90s in the Switzerland, as you can see here. Then people like G-Monk, among others, did their radical web counter design in the early 2000s. Okay. Machine 56 also had a constant vector design run since the 90s. And all of these are like, I can see a lot of similarities with Marathon as well. This certainly looks very Marathon-esque. Started to pick up on it. Heavy graffiti inspirations. This, which one is this? Yeah. Other big landmark designers like Neville Brody, Ian Anderson, Burton Kramer, Armin Hoffman, bunch of these different designers. So even though Anti-Real looks very, very similar to Marathon, and it's because they literally lifted a lot of it from Anti-Real stuff, there's also a lot of other inspirations like these. The 3D area, Maxim Zhestkov, I think, which this looks very Marathon, like especially the piping. I don't know what it is. Piping is a big thing in Marathon, but a lot of these shapes and things. So these were all inspirations for Anti-Real as well. And then, you know, they took it and also ran with it. But this sort of graphic realism art style has been around for decades and decades and decades. As you can see here, these are very, very similar, very familiar. And so it's not as simple. I know, because Anti-Real's artwork is literally like asset for asset is so similar. As you can see here, this is like hilariously similar. Like this is, come on, come on. Like clearly this is lifted. Probably they had this pulled up in a second monitor as they made their own slightly tweaked version of it, almost certainly. But the art style in general has been established for a long time. There's been many other pieces of inspiration. Like I don't think you can copyright or patent or anything in art style. You know, it's like, should one game not be allowed to do cell shaded because another game did cell shaded? No, that doesn't make any sense. The problem here, and just be clear, is not that Marathon took the art style and made a game like that, because some people have alleged that that's the problem. No, it's this stuff. It's the fact that like the text is identical. Like they copy and pasted that here. That's the problem. Okay. The problem is the asset theft. That's the key problem. The art style, yeah, they're very similar because they're all part of graphic realism, which is something that's been going back decades and, you know, it's been developed slowly. And there's certainly pieces of it that feel very close to Anti-Real's particular spin on the art style. And there's other pieces that seem much more similar to some work done by other artists, like the Lost Logos books. This one, where was the other one that looked very, very familiar? Yeah, a lot of the text and stuff here from Nick Gerard in 2015. So there's a lot of inspiration taken from all sorts of places, but I just want to be clear that it's not the art style being similar that's the problem. It's the direct copy pasting of assets. That's the problem. So anybody who's like, oh, they have to redo the art style, not really. The art style is established and is, you know, it's something going back decades. The problem are these like hilariously similar pieces where it's like, what are we doing? Guys, come on. Happens a lot in the design field, well, especially when you consider how much stuff is being made constantly. I can only imagine how tough it is to keep up with. But you know, looking back at this and you're like, oh, this is from the 90s. It's like, well, that's just how it works, man. A lot of these things are in the works for years and years and years. Very slowly evolve and transform. But we'll see what happens with Marathon. I still think the odds are pretty high that they are forced to shove it out in September. It probably doesn't do too well. And then we hear about all sorts of company shakeups. That's kind of my guess at this point. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they can convince them to give them a delay, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. Inspiration never comes from nothing, but come on, where is the transformative aspect of anti-real's work? Well, exactly. And where you get the problem with anti-real is if you're going to claim we were just inspired by anti-real, that's one thing. But when you are like, you can literally show the text is identical, then the argument for inspiration falls apart. Then it's like, no, you just took it, you know, like it doesn't really work that way. Even her logo's in the game. Exactly. So like, those arguments start to fall apart, but the broader art style, and it's hard to say when the art style was established versus when the anti-real stuff happened. Like the original, like even in this thumbnail from Destin right there, the original announcement trailer, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think anybody's found any anti-real work in that trailer. They found it in the gameplay. So like, I'm sure at some point, maybe a similar time, they had taken inspiration from anti-real's work, but at this point they hadn't done anything copy and pasted, maybe taken inspiration from it, but it was specifically like the art assets and stuff that they built into the game. You know, did I react to IGN's hit piece on Arc Raiders? No. Did they not like Arc Raiders? What hit piece are you talking about? Do you know the name of the video? Because I don't remember seeing anything on that. They recorded in like 30 FPS and bashed it. I mean, I very much believe I very much believe that. They recorded it poorly. That's kind of par for the course for them at this point. People watch IGN. I mean, like, you know, when you're driving down the highway and there's like a car crash and you have to look over to see what's going on. Like, it's like that. It's like that. Bro, we need to have a serious conversation over their footage capture. Dude, I genuinely, at this point, it's such a consistent problem. Like, it's happening from different people all over the world that just work with IGN. So I think they must, I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine they have like guidelines when they have somebody, hey, you're going to go to this event for IGN on IGN's behalf, and you're going to record gameplay footage. And this is the stats you need to put in. When you edit a video, this is how you export it. This is the stats you do. There must be something like that they do. But it's so stupid. Like they clearly have the wrong specs and stuff, because everything that they put up, it looks terrible. Looks dreadful. And then there's other things like just that Star Wars Outlaws gameplay from IGN. I swear to God, this one Star Wars Outlaws gameplay bit probably did more damage to the game than anything else just because of how poorly they captured it. This trailer did well. People saw this, liked it, thought it looked really good. I thought this looked really good. But they had one moment, it was IGN specifically. IGN. Yeah, here. With the explosion. I spoke to someone who works at Ubisoft. Yeah, the explosion. It's the most played thing. This right here, watch this. That looked bad. That looked bad. And in the final version of the game, it was not this bad. Apparently, this was specifically an issue, and it was not, like, my understanding is that it was not in the final version. I could be wrong about that. I'm not totally certain. I don't have the footage like pulled up to compare, but it doesn't look great. And then right after this, wait till you see this. Where is it? It's here. So they apparently were playing with like a ton of the like graphic settings turned down for this preview build of the game. And so a lot of the post-processing stuff didn't look right. A lot of the explosions look terrible because it's like playing a game on low and then complaining that the graphics don't look great. That's effectively what, was claimed. But IGN put it out and was like, here, look at this new gameplay showcase. I swear to God, I saw more reactions to this than anything else discussing the game. Like this one thing from IGN did more damage than anything else. And I spoke to people at Ubisoft who were like, yeah, I don't know who greenlit that to give IGN the footage. If it was up to us, we wouldn't do anything with them anymore. But what are we doing? It's just, ugh. The game had plenty of other problems. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, I'm not saying that the game was secretly like actually a masterpiece and it was just because of this that the game had troubles. But this certainly, I think, started a very, very negative discussion around the game for really no reason at all. I do think if you have some extra time, you should try Star Wars Outlaws. I think it'll be a pleasant surprise to you. It's one of those good games. It's not a masterpiece. It's not phenomenal. After the patches and stuff, it's way, way better. At launch, I'd say it was more meh because the AI was so bad, but they fixed up a ton of it. A ton of it. They added a bunch of stuff too. Like now you can shoot on the speeder. You can carry weapons with you. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. So it's way better. If you have extra time, who has that? Fair point. Speaking of extra time, let's talk about this real quick. Is Marathon now called Art Raiders? That's what it's going to be memed on and about so much. Yeah. It's the kind of game you get on sale, as are many Ubisoft titles. But yeah. I think if you get it on sale, you can have a pleasant time with it. Thoughts on the new AMD Threadripper and graphics cards? I haven't looked into them that much. I think any competition's good. I'm hopeful AMD can continue to improve because damn, NVIDIA needs competition on the GPU side of things. They really need it. Where's Jor? We're going to do the podcast on Friday because I suspect there may be news about something tomorrow that may give us something to talk about on Friday. Okay. Could be wrong, but I have a sneaking suspicion that there might be something tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow or early next week, but I think tomorrow. We'll see. Let's talk about, let's see, where else am I? It might be because I just upgraded Windows 11, but God, I hate Microsoft. Phil Spencer's all right, though. Everybody hates Windows 11. Nerdy Giant, thank you for the 5. What do you think Naughty Dog's new game will be? I remember a few years back some fantasy concept art that was leaked. It might be that. They're saying now it's not a small project. It's going to be like a big project. So I don't know. I really don't know. They were working on, like they had one project that was going to be live service. They were working on another like multiplayer thing. Those got dumped. So I really don't know. There's been rumors there's like another spin-off Uncharted game. You remember they showed it in like that PS5 sizzle reel? It was just a few frames of like a girl holding a torch. Looked kind of Tomb Raider, but she was blonde. So people thought maybe it's like a new spin-off series in Uncharted with Nathan Drake's daughter. So you never know. You never know. But I'm not sure. Christopher, thank you for the 5. It pains me to say this, but Bungie should have stayed at Microsoft making Halo games. Now they're about to be out of business. Well, it's amazing that they got out of Activision. Like the partnerships they had with Activision, they break free. They get out, you know, they're away from Microsoft. They're away from Activision. They're totally independent, and they buddy up with PlayStation, and it's just they keep screwing everything. It's just a managerial issue. It really is. It's just a managerial issue. Okay. Also, the Oscar guy, thank you for the sub. Thank you. Okay. Any news from Steam? I don't think so. Not officially. Let's look at this though real quick. Whoops, I pressed the wrong button. Hold on. Okay. News segment. So one of the games I'm most intrigued by this year is Crimson Desert. It is allegedly coming by the end of this year if it doesn't get delayed. Crimson Desert is, of course, coming from Pearl Abyss, the guys behind the big Black Desert Online games. And this is their first massive foray into the single player open world space. I mean, it's going to be a huge project. And there's this video breaking down some of their big engine capabilities, and I thought it could be interesting to check it out and look at it because nowadays, perhaps more than ever, there's been a lot of discourse around technical performance, graphical capabilities and stuff. It's a common point of contention is people being like, the game's fun, but it runs like crap or it looks like crap. People are much more in tune nowadays with technical performance, and maybe it's Digital Foundry that's done it. I'm not totally sure exactly what's done it. Maybe it's just people have less money to go around, so they're being more precise with where they deploy cash. Who knows? But let's see what this engine is capable of, and if some of the suspicions from some people, which is that this game looks too good to be true, if any of that is warranted. Let's see.
Where are the kids? He's here to take the spirit's children!
Korean developer Pearl Abyss are swinging for the fences with their open-world action-adventure Crimson Desert, a spin-off single-player game standing on the shoulders of their MMORPG Black Desert. I got to go hands-on with the game on PC, and I came away with more details about the technology that powers it and why this could be one of the biggest games of 2025. 2020.
Dude, look at this water.
About the technology that powers it and this could be one of the biggest games.
Oh, look at the water. Look at it pouring off the rock. Man. This is one of those things where it's like, does good water sim a great game make? No. But damn, it helps. Gets me excited because I'm like, ooh, it's attention to detail. I like it because attention to detail can indicate attention to detail in other facets of the game's design, open world design, gameplay, stuff like that. So I like seeing this stuff. Could also mean that the game just runs like crap. You never know, but we'll see.
Games of 2025. Now, Crimson Desert uses Pearl Abyss's own in-house new proprietary Black Space engine. This new engine is very impressive in the modern world of commercialized and commoditized engines, offering all the modern features and functions of those same competitors. A core pillar is support for multi-platform development, aided by dual API support in DirectX 12 and Vulkan, making it efficient and within the team's full control to harness its benefits across each platform. Another is
okay, that all looks good. GPU, hair, and cloth physics. Please, if anybody out there who has any power or is... if there's anybody important out there listening, we beg you. Cloth sim, hair sim, physics sim. It's way more fun and engaging than slightly sharper reflections. please bring back physics. Bring back the crazy cool hair sim. Bring back that stuff, because it makes a difference when you're fighting somebody and the hair's whipping around and the cloth swinging in the breeze. It's awesome. I love it dearly. Please. And it seems like they have it here.
Is the key temporal upscaling ingredient required from multiple vendors. The demo I played fully supports AMD's FSR3 and the team confirmed FSR4 come launch, as the API front end is compatible. In addition, the team confirmed DLSS will also be included, but for others such as PSSR for the PS5 Pro or Intel's XESS, this was not confirmed. Now, the team may include other options when it lands on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series consoles, and even Apple Mac, but we'll have to wait till launch. The demo was a few months old. I confirmed with the team that it was the same build from GDC in March and running on an AMD Radeon 7800 XT GPU and a Ryzen 7800X 3D CPU. The hands-on demo and the release footage from the team was capped at 4K 60 FPS for our session and this direct capture you see, but I was allowed to push this higher without capture. The RX 7000 series GPUs are good, but even within AMD's GPU range, it can scale up from here, and in reality, the final game will be significantly more polished and more performant come launch. The visual...
I will give this guy credit. He does seem to know what he's talking about, and this video is not compressed to high holy hell, which is rare for IGN. So they've actually done a good job here on putting this video together in terms of fidelity. It helps having somebody that knows what they're doing, it seems. But having said that, I think maybe it's a mixture of that compression being way, way better here and the way that they've encoded the video being better, and then also just the newer build. But it seems this is a demo we've seen for multiple other places. People have played the same demo, I think, going all the way back to Gamescom back in August of last year. And, you know, they play newer versions of it. It's the same gameplay chunks, though. And this version seems to be running way better than what we saw back in August, which is good. It's making a lot of progress.
But the image presented upscaler artifacts, and it has a lot to handle here, with heavy use of motion blur per object and per pixel, particles, alpha transparencies, foliage, fur, hair, and more. It would be a very hard task for any upscaler. Image quality is good, but the telltale signs of ghosting, dithered artifacts, foliage flicker, and such do show up from time to time, leaving little doubts of FSR3.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a nightmare situation for an upscaler, to be clear. Like, lots of movement, motion blur. You also have like shadows being cast on the foliage, so you get this weird
fingerprints here. FSR4
see, kind of ghostly
from time to time, leaving little
kind of ghostly artifacting and flickering with it. Thankfully, the video is compressed and edited in a way where you can actually see that stuff. They've encoded it well enough to actually get that. Thank God. Thank God. IGN! Use this guy more. Give him more stuff. He knows what he's doing. This is good. I like it. Please.
Of FSR3's fingerprints here. FSR4, PSSR and DLSS will certainly fare better if included in the final release builds, but I'm sure we will see big strides in this already solid base, and it certainly was a looker.
Then I'll turn you inside out.
Now, where would a new gaming engine be without ray tracing, which is included in the toolkit with real-time global illumination, shadows, and looks to include reflections, but it is not alone in the feature-rich technical options the team can pick from. For example, even without ray tracing enabled, the game
you can
still
see the ghosting pretty bad there.
Options the team can pick from. For example,
so you see when he moves his foot, see these little like ghosty lines. That's where his foot was just a handful of frames ago. So you go back a frame, you see it lines up perfectly with where his foot was. That's that upscaler trying desperately to guess where that foot needs to be as it goes frame to frame. But I mean, all things considered, it still looks very, very good. And one of the things is when we're watching a video like this, our eyes tend to be focused on the center of the screen, and over here we're looking over for other little details. excuse me, we're looking at other little details. But when you're playing the game, your vision's going to be locked and loaded on your player character. So you can kind of get away with some of this stuff in the outside of the frame because your eyes are not there. It's the danger with like pixel peeping when you are watching back gameplay footage, because the devs know your eyes are going to be focused on what you're in control of, not necessarily the corner of the frame over there. So complaining about something over here when nobody's going to be looking there while playing the game is probably silly to complain about that stuff, but it's still worth bringing up at least.
Even without ray tracing enabled, the game still supports real-time.
You're doing what to the pixels?
Lighting and global illumination, and it falls back to signed distance fields, ray marching, or SDF light calculations. Now this is similar to ray tracing, but it's less precise and thus less expensive to run, which helps it scale down to a wider user hardware base. Real-time physics and fluid simulation are also supported, in addition to GPU accelerated particles, offering vast rendering scale complete with fluid-based fog volumes and volumetric clouds.
Oh, give me fog volumes. Oh, dude, I love that
offering
stuff.
Vast rendering scale complete with
like this stuff is cool, dude. I love running through a foggy forest with the fog breaking as I run through it. I love it. It's great. It's this type of thing is what I like. This is what I like. Okay, interactability. You remember the old physics demos for like Batman Arkham Asylum or Batman Arkham City and Batman Arkham Origins, where they had like posters blowing down the streets and you could interact with the posters and like walk into them or step on them and they'd blow in the wind and bend and twist. Those little details, they make a difference. I love it. Makes the world feel more alive.
With fluid-based fog volumes and volumetric clouds, dynamic weather, procedural snow, tessellated geometry and landscapes, physics-based water simulation that collides with rocks and itself, creating some of the very best water in games I've seen for years, and up there with Rockstar-like quality. Foliage, hair, cloth physics, along with procedural destruction and weighted combat, and complex AI state models and procedural generation all offer up a full suite of options for the team to tailor the engine to each game and platform. All modern rendering techniques such as screen space effects, ray tracing, parallax occlusion maps, physically based rendering, procedural generation, destruction, and much, much more ensure it can keep up with its peers and its competitors.
Well, I'll be damned. A grey man. Here of all places.
Yeah, I hope the game is actually fun. Yeah, no, it's with all this, like the tech stuff is important because if a game is a technical disaster, it doesn't typically matter how good the rest of it is. But I think it's also because we just haven't seen a whole lot more than this. Like it's a new IP. It's from a developer that's not like, they've not done this before. They haven't done a single player game before like this. They've done Black Desert Online, a big MMO. So we can point to that, but that doesn't necessarily instill a lot of confidence in this because it's a very different kind of game. So instead, we have to look at what we can get our hands on, which is all of this. Now, my guess with this game and my prediction has been that it probably is a very impressive game in many ways. But I do think that like the writing will probably be dry. I think it probably is one of those games where it has a lot of like mindless fetch quests. I think there's going to be stuff like that, you know, kind of standard things, remnants of the MMO kind of origins of the studio, where you can have a lot of very repetitive, heavy fetch quest style things in an MMO, but in a single player game, people might not tolerate that the same way. They might get frustrated by it much more. So I think there will be things like that that are remnants of their heritage, but I still think it'll be very, very impressive. And if it's even like good narratively, we're in for a treat.
Now, technical bullet points do not a game make, and the team knows this. Like the hallowed days of the C64 Amiga through Sega Saturn to PS2, engines were often made around or for the game itself. Here, the team have done the same, creating the technology focus of the engine to drive their creative aims, but also building an entire pipeline within their technology stack, starting with their own motion capture and art studio to create smooth motion, cinematics, and excellent visuals on display. The real-time cinematics use the motion capture well to aid nuance, charm and flair throughout, but it's also to capture the action performance that translates into the strikes, flips, kicks and combat from those core combat sections. Now this level of quality and investment in the game's development stack shows that Pluribus are ramping up to deliver high-quality AAA games with the full suite of engine technology, motion capture studios, in-house art, design and sound teams.
You also have to give them credit. This scene right here is like an upscaler's nightmare. You're talking about very similar color palettes. So you, in this case, like very similar gradations of color. So you have white and then gray, which is just a darker white. And then you have all the little shadowy bits, tons of particle effects and hair. This is a nightmare for upscalers. This is where you can see every weakness imaginable.
And the results here.
And it actually looks really good. Like, if we're pointing out artifacts, yeah, we can find them. But this is also some BDE. I mean, this is some big dick energy to put this scene on display. Most companies, they would have this maybe as a boss fight in the game, but they wouldn't really show it publicly because they're like, yeah, it doesn't look the best because of all the hair sim and particle effects. So we're not going to showcase that. But they very proudly put it front and forward, you know, immediately. Yeah, this is what we got. Check it out. Good dunk. Just lay it on the table.
Here are very, very impressive from the first title to use these tools, but Crimson Desert will be followed up by the equally but vastly different looking DokeV, which shares the engine and development pipeline, but it creates its own style, gameplay and quality from those very same tools. Now this reflects well on the team's potential to deliver a varied range of games and styles for all audiences.
It's crazy that those are the same company.
I shall grant you power.
Thought you could still feel Draven's breath.
Now during these encounters that I tested in the demo, it was apparent to me that the game's control and combat system is very intricate, offering a plethora of moves, timing, tactics and awareness, all being key. Button bashing will quickly end in defeat. Instead, parries, dodges, magic, projectiles and more are all vital for success. Now many of these had swarms of enemies that could divert your attention from the main foe, such as these humanoid terracotta pots, which show off the game's excellent particle system, procedural destruction and artistic flair on magical effects. Now these battles also demonstrates the excellent memory and camera system that they have built, often overlooked in reviews and technical analysis, but the game seamlessly goes from gameplay into real-time cutscene and back into gameplay without any obvious jumps, warps, stutters or seams. Now this goes a long way to building the atmosphere and engagement within the game. The amount being thrown around at any given time is immense, and at times
it is so smooth. It really, really is. I think it's also the reason it doesn't come up a lot in reviews and stuff is because it's like Steve Jobs said about technology, just in general. He's like, technology is at its best when it's invisible. Good tech, you shouldn't even have to think about. It should just be. It should just exist. You know, like there's some exceptions, obviously. You get a new phone and you're like, ooh, the screen looks so good. But after a while, it should be invisible to you. Like it should just become part of your day-to-day, part of your experience, and that's it. But instead, like I think a lot of the time, if it's one of those things like a game soundtrack. A lot of the time, most soundtracks, you just don't even really notice because they're good. A bad soundtrack, you notice real quick. An exceptionally phenomenal soundtrack, you'll notice, like Expedition 33, in my opinion. But a good soundtrack, a lot of the time, you'll just kind of be like, yeah, I guess it does have good music, you know? To be fair, though, Steve Jobs was full of crap. I think if you are working in Silicon Valley, that almost certainly you're full of crap. I mean, let's be honest. Let's just be completely real.
Times can be overwhelming. This is where some problems did arise, not least of which was the camera and lock-on. Now, normally not a showstopper in boss battles, but due to the amount of enemies you can face, plus the relentless barrage of attacks you can receive, it made the fights artificially harder as I lost orientation and thus missed strikes, leaving me fighting with the camera, scenery and controls. Now they need to improve the lock-on and camera system so it tracks the focused enemy and keeps both vertical.
That seems like a bug to me more than anything, because you can see he's locking on
swings within a finite range,
but it's not tracking.
This would,
so I'm guessing that's a bug, because like even some of these
controls. Now they need to improve the
like he's locked on allegedly to the guy on the far left of the screen. That seems to be a bug to me, like it's not tracking. So I would hope that's fixed. If that's how it's supposed to work at launch, yeah, obviously we got a major problem, but I'm guessing that's a bug.
Lock-on and camera system so it tracks the focused enemy and keeps both vertical and horizontal axis swings within a finite range. This would help balance the frantic style that they aim for while still allowing you to keep your enemies and strikes within range at all times. The character physics from strikes can also be a little floaty on occasion, which needs the physics model to update to reflect more weight and less momentum when hit. And I gave this feedback to the team, and I'm confident that these areas in need of refinement will be improved in the final build. And even though I only had a short time with the game and was certainly thrown in at the deep end, I improved a great deal and I was keen to play more beyond this very small teaser. As a technical chap, first and foremost, the level of passion, skill, scale and quality on show here from Pearl Abyss is exceptional. The game offers a romantic mix of character-driven story, open-world adventure that the development team stated to me was more Breath of the Wild than Witcher 3 in design. Excellent yet tough and rewarding combat that is tough but skill-based, with a plethora of moves, timing, skills and awareness within. It relies on melee and magic with pyrotechnics everywhere thanks to that GPU powered particle system. They have delivered a feature rich engine that offers all the big options needed to succeed and deliver in the AAA space. A clear passion for the medieval period and the rustic, rugged and magical setting has an authentic feel of that history and period. Combat shows a great deal of variety and skill, the engine can scale up and down by a huge margin, and even though performance and quality could certainly be higher, from a game that still has over 6 months or more of development left behind it for release, it already presents an excellent level of quality and performance with much time left to improve each come launch. Now I do look forward to seeing more from the team and the game in the coming months, and also getting more information on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions to see just how close they come to this high-end PC experience. Maybe...
I'm guessing it doesn't come very close. I'm guessing the console versions of this game is going to be like, oh, that's my guess. Especially because they're doing so much with particle effects, and that, like, Pisser, I'm sorry, Pisser does not handle heavy particle effects very well. So even the PS5 Pro, I think, will struggle with it. And so on base consoles, you're probably also rendering at a lower resolution and then trying to do FSR to upscale. I mean, it's just, yeah, the Series S will explode. Yeah. Yeah. Trust in the Pisser tech. Yeah. Trust in the Pisser. It'll get better. Yeah, for sure. But better by the time this launches. I don't know.
Just maybe there can be more than one engine after all.
Oh, I think this year actually showed, especially with KCD2, it showed that having something other than Unreal Engine, there are real advantages to it. I think, you know, we meme on Creation Engine a lot because it's really bad and really funny, but there are also advantages to having like Bethesda games in the Creation Engine, specifically mods. It's very easy to build mods in that game or in that engine. And that's a super valuable thing, you know, for a company like that and for people who like Bethesda style games. So there's advantages to having, you know, your own proprietary tech and proprietary engines. Of course, we just had Doom, which of course runs in their own engine and looks phenomenal and runs very well. So there's always, at least hopefully, there will always be room for competition. And I think that will be good to have an engine like this that's doing things that other engines are not doing. But, you know, I guess time will tell. Because if it launches and runs like crap, all of this is for naught, you know. It doesn't really matter that much, but that's the key. If it runs like crap, all this goes out the window. What game is that? This is Crimson Desert, expected to come out later this year. Funnily enough, I think I actually, hold on, where to go? Is it, oh. I see you. I see you, Will. Will just followed me. And he does PR. Interesting. Interesting. Keeping an eye on you. If you have any opportunities with regard to Crimson Desert, let me know. I'd like to try it myself, but I don't want to have to fly to Germany for Gamescom. Please. Please. He's here. He could be one of us. It could be any one of you. Dude, it's like that one time, no joke. Some of you guys were here for it. We were just talking randomly about something, and then of all people, Corey Balrog shows up in chat and just makes a quick comment about, I think it was about how developers are not usually the ones, like it's executives pushing for delays and things like that. But I opened his profile, and like it was his actual account where he posted that video 7 years ago reacting to the God of War reviews. I was like, oh my God, it's Corey Barlow. Like he's just chilling in chat. Dude, he was here the other day as well. Really? And I missed him? Damn it. Yeah, so you never know. He might be watching right now laughing. You just never know. It's a small world. It's why I tell you guys, like, if you have feedback on some of these games, put it in the comments. You never know who's watching, dude. You never know. I mean, like Todd used to joke all the time about how he would read through forums. He would have a like anonymous Reddit account or like more niche forum account. God damn it, Corey. And he would just like start talking to people, and like he's like, they have no idea. They're talking to the like Todd Howard who makes these games. Like they're venting about carry weights in Fallout 4, I think it was. And he's like, they have no idea they're talking to me. And I would do the same thing. I do the same thing. You know? Why the hell not? Like Corey right now in chat just being like, he. They have no idea. Oh. That's some Chad energy right there, Corey. Damn it. You know, as always, to make it up to me, I'd be happy if you just wanted to tell me what you're working on. That'd make all this better, so just, yeah, ears. Corey, where is your new Game Pro? I'm so eager to see it. I'm sure it's just like, it's got to be so weird to have something be a secret for so many years and then to finally be able to talk about it, like I can only imagine working on one of these games for 4, 5, 6 years. And you like anybody asks you, your friends ask you, what are you working on? Cause I'm sure like Corey has friends who are like, what are you working on? What are you doing? And you just have to be like, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. But when that gear changes and they announce the game, it's gotta be so freaking weird to all of a sudden be able to talk about it. I can't even fathom like having something like compartmentalized in my brain for 5 years or 4 years or whatever it is, and then to be allowed to talk about it. I don't think I'd ever be able to do it. But you still see it all the time, like where people will, when we were at Bungie for the marathon event, they were still referring to it as like all the code names. It's yeah, I can't wait to be able to talk about it. But right now, never heard of it. It's like, I'm working on stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just weird. Yeah, it's very funny when people shift gears like that and all of a sudden are able to talk about it. It's got to be so freeing. It's just like a massive weight off your shoulders. Well, you guys heard it here first. What we should clip this, dude. We should clip it and be like, breaking news. Corey's never heard of the game he's working on. He's never heard of it. I bet some people would run with that. You get a lot of TikToks made on it, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of nonsense. Oh God, Twitter would explode. Yeah, it's just anytime you say any little bitty thing, people run with it. There was one of those instances recently where somebody, what was it? It was like somebody quoted another like executive from Sony, and then a couple of like console gamers, like the hardcore console fanboys, took that and ran with it and were like, so what you're saying is, and then they wrote up a bunch of stuff about it. It was total nonsense. It's just completely made up. Also, this is a legendary poll. Summer Game Fest's official account with a big ol' misspelling. What's your most anticipated game right now? That's a legendary poll right there. You don't see that very often. Legendary. Tell people I'm working on the game Neil just mentioned the other day. Oh my God, dude. That would be really funny. People, he's Corey and Santa Monica and Naughty Dog are merging into one giga company. They're going to make The Last of Us 4. They're just jumping straight to it. You know, they knew that 3 would be received kind of polarized. So they went straight to 4. You guys just skip right over it. Yeah, Destin, absolutely. We're gonna clip the reaction to it with the plugs and stuff for your channel probably in a few days, so we don't step on your video's performance. But good job on that, Destin, with all the reporting and stuff, getting all those frankly depressing comments. I'ma be real. Hearing a lot of that stuff from Bungie is very sad, but good job reporting on it. You did a good job on there. Yep, we will be called Naughty Monica. Okay, now it has to happen, dude. Can you imagine? Like, oh my God, that would be so great. Imagine Jeff gets on stage. The rumors are true. A new game from a new studio. Naughty Monica. I can't even do it with a straight face. Naughty Monica. I can't. I'll have to practice. I can't say it with a straight face. Naughty Monica. Dude, that would be such a great studio name. I can already imagine what you could do with the logo. Destin, thanks. Please make me look cooler when that video was shot in 1984. That was the hairstyle back then. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, the Evolve video. Dude. I used to have spiked hair like that. I looked like you know, I was wearing a tiara. Look at that. Those are the days, man. This had to be what? 2013, 2014, something like that. Because they unveiled Evolve. I think Evolve came out in like 2014, I want to say. So it must have been like 2013-ish. Yeah, that's a deep cut. It'll be a collab with me, Neil, and Kojima. That's and then Silent Hill. You have to put Silent Hill in there. Dude, what about that? That was such a weird thing. Do you guys remember the Abandoned game, which was ironically abandoned? People thought that this was like some sort of psyop from Kojima because it was shown at a PlayStation showcase. Even though, like, let's be honest, it looks pretty bad, but people were people were running with it. And the most insane thing was this. There's the one shot against the brick wall. Where is it? Here. I kid you not. People looked at this and said, this is Kojima telling us, because it's kill the trespassers. And this branch goes over the T in the and the P in trespassers. TP or PT. It's Kojima telling us he's working on PT. Like, for a month, this is all some of these people would talk about. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think back to those days. I'm like, you know what? Maybe us having so many games this year is actually like, it's a really good thing. It can be overwhelming, but we were so bored that this is the kind of stuff we were having to make videos on, you know? It's insane. It's insane. Also, there is no shot that dude intentionally did this. He just put a tree awkwardly close to a building and then people ran with it. And then he was like, oh, people think it's actually, okay, yeah, no, sure. And he ran with it for a while. Jeff talked about it. This whole thing, I think I would watch like a 2-hour documentary just on this whole thing. because there's got to be so much. It's like Tiger King, but for video games. There's got to be so many little bitty nuances to that. I can only imagine.
Christopher Burnett donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, Christopher.
Have you heard about the Christopher Nolan Peloton incident? He was taking a class from home, in the middle of an intense workout when the instructor criticized his film Tenet. He handled it well.
You think you're pretty clever with that. You think you're pretty clever with that one, huh? You think you're clever. I will say, Tenet is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. That is a movie that will give you a headache instantly. It'll break your brain, but it's very good. It's very good. Thank you for the 10. That's very generous. At first I was like, oh no, did something happen to him on a Peloton? And then yeah, we got there, but thank you for the 10. That's very generous. Yeah, the other one, the day before, that one's more depressing. That one's more depressing, but that was also another one. What's the studio name? Was it Fantastic? I think, but it was really, really weird because they kept saying that like our devs are passionate volunteers. And you're like, what do you mean volunteer? Like what? What do you mean it's volunteers? And then like all of these, honestly, just fake gameplay trailers and stuff that they did. Some of these, I'm always amazed that they get seen like this. But you know what this tells me? 2.8 million views and the fact that it was the most wishlisted game on Steam for a while. This tells me Ubisoft launched Division 3 with like a post-apocalyptic thing with like, well, basically just do this. Have like a separate thing where there's like zombies. People will eat it up. Maybe don't call it Division 3. Just have that team work on it, like at Massive. Clearly people want this. People want like a big zombie post-apocalyptic MMO in this same similar style. Give it to them and you'll make so much money. So much money. This was fake and everybody talked about it. Imagine if it was real. That's all I'm saying. Oh, maybe this is maybe this is the new Naughty Monica game. Maybe they're working on one. Who knows? Naughty Monica is relaunching the day before. They bought out the rights to it. They started work on it, and they're very passionate about it. It's gonna be really good. Can you believe that got confirmed on Luke's stream? Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Is that Corey? Yeah, Corey's in here hanging out. And before you ask, no, he has not heard of the game he's working on. Okay. Well, fam, this has been wonderful. I appreciate the gosh darn heck out of you. I actually have a little play date scheduled for our puppy. He's going to go hang out and play with some of my college mates. They're bringing their dogs and they're going to kind of socialize and do all of that. It's going to be a good time. Until next time, my friends, much love. You guys are fantastic. Appreciate the gosh darn heck out of every single one of you. Shout out to Corey for being here. Destin's also here. We got the G's in the chat today. And of course, all of you guys who are here watching, hanging out, I appreciate the gosh darn heck out of all of you guys. Okay. Much love. Stay safe. Have a wonderful Wednesday. And I'll see you on Friday for more. Okay. Much love. I'll see you then. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.
Shout out to the chess club.